The following program deals with a controversial
subject.
The theories expressed are not the only possible interpretation.
The viewer is invited to make a judgment based on all available information.
the top talents in the comic book business are here to tell everything they know.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to a special early edition of the Industry of Comics show with the one, the only, Mr. Brian Pulido. How you doing, Brian? This is oh my gosh, man. Listen, we have to start the show by talking about the Evil Ernie Omnibus, which is getting ready. You have how many hours left to go? 26 hours left to go on this one, you guys. Yeah, it's been fascinating to watch. Over 1,200 backers right now. $345,000 on this one pledged already. Tons of things unlocked, all the different unlockables, and pretty amazing. I made sure to get my Smiley challenge coin, which is nice. So I do have that. Yeah. So I'm looking forward to that. I'm a huge fan of the Smiley button and Smiley psychotic button and all that stuff. That is when I think of, a lot of people think Lady Death and Evil Ernie when they think chaos. First thing that pops in my head is Smiley, and I'm just old school. Like,
because in a sense, the Evil Ernie story was a twisted buddy story. There was Evil Ernie and his button buddy. And Smiley wasn't like an extension of Evil Ernie's id or ego or anything. It was a separate entity. So they really were friends and they really counted on each other. I think there's a lot of differences in their behavior. Obviously, Evil Ernie, a lot of anger management issues, impulse control. And Smiley was there to provide a bit of a counterpoint and some sort of a rational reaction to things.
yeah,
There were even storylines, Brian, where the two would get separated. And then I remember the storyline, I think it was Revenge. And slowly Smiley starts losing his life force because the realization is for them to both live, they have to be together. So it's
yeah.
like little pulling of the heartstrings amidst all the ultra violence.
People are saying that we have to start over, Brian, because my OBS system decided to mute us in the beginning, but we're not going to do that. So don't even
We're
think about
rebels,
it.
man.
Yeah.
So we're going to keep rolling on. But
yeah.
yeah, tonight is a special night on the eve of the closing of the campaign. What we thought we would do is bring together some OGs. So some of you guys out there and gals know that the culture around this work has been around for 3.5 decades. And the different types of fan cultures have names. So we have OGs, we have Fiends, we have the Swarm. But tonight we invited 3 OGs who've been around since the day. And we're going to do a little show and tell, showing you wild, odd, unique Evil Ernie and Smiley objects, just as a memorial, as an affection for this wild, idiosyncratic, cultish thing that we all love together.
Amen. Let's bring him in. Rob, Jeff, and Travis, thanks for joining us tonight, guys. This is pretty special. I remember talking to Brian. It was probably after the last time you guys came on to talk. It was you and Nikki, and afterwards I told Brian, I said, man, it would be cool to get some old school OGs, as you're saying, in Chaos Comics and the Fiends and Sworn Nation to come on and show some amazing things. But we'd be remiss to let these guys talk about how they got into Chaos Comics. Rob, I want to start with you. What was your intro to Chaos Comics and Evil Ernie?
And when?
Well, oddly enough, it was Lady Death is what first got me when I first saw the chromium cover Lady Death. And as soon as I saw that, I had to find out more about the characters.
And I had to February '94.
Yeah. I was young. I was a young kid back then. And I the internet wasn't really around then. It was just new. All the websites were new. There were really no fan sites except for one called Jennifer's Chaotic Realm.
That's right.
And I even made my own website, Jetman's Chaos Fiend Chat, which I had a top 10 list. I had everything on there.
Wow.
But I got to, through Jennifer's page, I got to meet the Cyber Fiends and hook up with Dave Balance and Judy Evers and that little group. We all met in the second Halloween bash, which was in ChillerCon in New Jersey. And it was crazy.
So, Rob,
I'm
just going to give you one piece of coaching, which is there's going to be some people that are outside the culture that don't exactly know what you're talking about. So you got to slow it a little.
Sorry.
Speak as if you're talking to people who don't know what you're talking about.
Well, that was one of the first Chaos parties, big events were the bashes. First one I think was in '96.
Yeah, I think so.
And there were the one I went to was in '97, and that's where I first met Brian and Steven and everybody. And I got to really get into the fandom, meeting Steven, meeting Brian, meeting Fran, meeting everybody with seeing the artwork. That's also where one of the places I got my first taste of Evil Ernie was able to find the Eternity Youth Gone Wild series. And once I read that, I was hooked. That cover right there.
Yeah. Iconic, man. Absolutely iconic. What about you, Jeff? How did you get into this crazy world of Chaos Comics?
Well, I started with Eternity Comics, and it was funny because my dad took me. He was going to buy. He was one of these weirdos. He was like kind of guys. He was going to buy gold because there was going to be this big gold rush or something, and so he takes me to this like gold shop, and right next door was a comic shop, and I had $50. Okay, and I'm like, you know what? Sorry, Dad. I'm going to go check out the comic shop. And it was called Triple Play, and it was a card shop that turned into a comic shop eventually. And it was this guy who ran it, who was like the Simpsons comic book guy come to life. No shit. It's exactly what he was like. He hated everybody. He was really angry, the whole thing. But he had all these underground comics. He had Hard Boiled and all this stuff. And I saw Ernie #2 on there, and I'm like, oh damn, man, that looks fucking cool, And so I got that, and then after that I was hooked, man. I started corresponding with Brian through the mail a little bit about things, and got the card set and anything that would come out, I got after that. I remember trying to order the special Youth Gone Wild trade with the sketch in it, and it was sold out like immediately. I couldn't even get it, but it was. This will kill everybody. There was one that was on eBay that for like a month or two ago, and it went for $1,000.
Wow!
Whoa!
The trade,
and it was
original.
It was $20 when it came out.
Wow! See, that's the type of stuff I love. That type of stuff right there, because people don't realize, how rare some of this stuff is until you tell them, and especially with the Evil Ernie stuff.
Well, that was limited to 120.
Yeah.
And I mean, I have 2 of them. I know now, and I mean, it says they're swallowed up immediately by huge fans and fiends and all that. So they're almost impossible to find. And not all of them were Ernie. Some of them were Lady Death. Some of them were, Dr. Price, Mary Young, Smiley. Yeah. So I mean, to get an Ernie too was, wasn't guaranteed or anything. So.
Wow.
Yeah, that was. So that's my story, man. I mean, and then after that, I met Brian and Steven for the first time at JC's in Toledo.
That was a great time.
That was awesome. I remember that distinctly. We were the first ones there. It's like an hour away from me. It was a big deal that they were coming and everything. And then they were late. And I remember this because Brian, if I may, Brian.
Go ahead.
Whatever. They were late because they went to Rob Zombie the night before, and I believe that there was some certain things taken. And I remember Brian getting out of JC's Camaro or Firebird, whatever that was, and throwing Little Debbie's to people. That was awesome, man. Yeah, that was a great time.
That's the type of thing that makes you a fan for life, brother. Right?
Right, for sure.
Travis, what about you, man?
Yeah, like same kind of deal. I actually grew up in a little small town of Rapid City, South Dakota. So I had no access to anything. There was, like Robert was saying, no internet was around. And I was lucky enough, I had my local comic book shop. It was called Storyteller.
Nice.
And I was 13 years old, and I was just scouring through the bins, and I remember looking up at the wall, the back wall, and I saw a leather edition Lady Death on the wall. And I was like, dude, what is that? And he's like, oh, that's real leather. And I'm like, what? No way, man. Are you for real? And, and just as a kid, it blew me away. And he's like, yeah, and that's real gold inlay. And I'm like, what? Like, so,
I had the same thing. That's the that's how I was introduced with those old school leather. Yeah, definitely.
Yep. Yeah, man. So, and that was it, and I got into the chromium cards. I fell in love with the cards. And then I got late into the game though when it came to meeting them though. So, I was in a little Hoboken town. So I finally got out to Arizona in 2005. And I actually started getting into the cons and the circuits or whatever, probably at like 2010. But I met Brian for the first time in 2012 at Phoenix Con. It was during the time they conceived the instant edition, the first one, the Icon #1. Yeah.
Yeah.
But so unfortunately, I was late in the game, and as in meeting some of the legends like Steven, of course, But I did get to meet Jason Jensen at Fiend Fest 2019, which was rad.
And you've made up for it.
yeah. I was a kid, when all this stuff was going down. So of course, money wasn't a thing for me back then. So. Here we are. I'm 42 now, right? And I have scoured the earth, and then some to find the things I have found. And it's taken some time, man. It's taken me 30 years to acquire some of the things I've got.
That's why we do things like this, because that's the type of stuff, that's the type of collector, fan, that we need, that we want to talk about, we want to talk to, we want to show off stuff. So actually, I'm going to start with you, Travis, because I see all that cool stuff behind you.
Before we get into it, can I just ask for the record where everybody's from?
Oh, great question. Yeah.
So Rob, Jeff, then Travis.
I'm in South Florida.
I'm in. Sorry.
Okay.
Brunswick, Ohio. So we're just south of Cleveland.
Yeah, and I'm currently residing in Tucson, Arizona.
There we go. That's three of us out here in Arizona on the panel.
That's true.
Yeah.
Bunch of desert rats.
Desert rats, yeah. And it's getting hot already.
Yeah, we're hating life right now.
Right?
These guys are loving it. Yeah, Jeff and Rob are loving life right now, huh? Yeah.
I mean, we got all kinds of good things, but this one here, and I just acquired this. That's the Smiley mouse pad.
That's cool.
I mean,
that is sick.
I mean, good luck.
Yeah.
They're hard. All this stuff is hard to find at this point because the heyday for something like the mouse pad was 1998. It's almost 30 plus years ago.
Yep.
This is another one. That's the Smiley zipper pull, still in the packaging too.
Wow.
Mint condition.
That's great.
So that one's a really
beautiful Ed Bennis Smiley. Now, for the context of time, some of these items maybe have had a print run of 10,000. Oh, and that Smiley, if my memory serves, came with the Fiend Club kit.
Yep.
Wow.
So that there's only so many of those.
Yeah.
Maybe 5,000 or less, but they just don't show up anymore. Like people kept them or moved on with their life. I don't know.
That's the Smiley watch.
Yeah, try to find that.
Yeah. I got one.
Well, or Try to find it at a reasonable price.
Yeah.
Travis, hang on. Can you try to get that closer to your camera? Because
Sure.
it was a little small.
Here we go.
So there's
Oh, yeah,
Smiley
look how
Psychotic
good
Bus,
that
And
looks.
the hands, if you look, the hands glow.
officially
Oh.
licensed watch.
Cool.
Oh, is it
Yeah, it's pretty
it
cool.
almost looks like a straight razor. What is that what the hands are? Is it one of the hands a straight razor?
Well,
Almost
let's say it
looks
was.
like
That's a
No.
good idea.
No.
Let's say it is, yeah.
If only it had the crossbones.
Yeah,
Yeah, so true.
Yeah. Super
Yeah.
cool.
that's great. That's
Yeah, and of
awesome.
course, like if I could I'll just do this. Like I could do a little pan maybe.
There we go. Yes, all
And-
the old
and
school
here's
Smiley stuff.
There's a license plate, Zippo, shot glasses. You know what I mean?
Frisbee.
Frisbee. Yeah. But
That's
if you
cool.
look here, this one was a kind of a cool one I got, and this one Brian can probably give you a little history on this. So this is definitely a legit Smiley antenna ball.
Wow.
Okay. But it's in this like prototyped packaging that never got, I guess,
I've never-
whatever, released or whatever. You know what I
I've
mean?
never seen
So,
that in the package.
Me neither.
Yeah. No one ever has. It's crazy. It's like a prototype.
But is that a legit chaos thing, Brian?
Yeah, it's legit because it's even stamped chaos and everything on the back of the
Oh.
ball. You can see it.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
What
Can
is
you-
the packaging? Can you show the packaging art a little closer? The cool, that one's lost to time for me. Because I recall our little balls came in just a piece of, a little plastic wrapper.
That's what
Yeah,
I
it's
remember.
crazy.
Yeah, I don't know. So occasionally it happens where it's lost to time or that's some sort of weird one-off. I don't know.
Yeah, it's like
There was
it's
that-
like a
there was a-
one-off.
There was a bit of a gray area when original Chaos Comics went out of business and before it was ever reacquired. And in between, there was a company called Eugene, Yujean, and they were just pumping out Smiley material.
Air fresheners. and-
Like crazy. Yeah. Keychains, shirts, candid. Oh, okay. So what Travis is now showing is
That's the original.
original OGs offered in June of 1993,
Wow.
and they're made out of resin and pretty primitive. Travis, can you flip that over to the back? And then you
Yeah,
can see there was
and-
just like a stamp that said it
Yep.
was made by Michael Burnett Productions.
Wow. So
So
here's the
there-
crazy thing about this, Brian. You showed, I believe, one of these off last time you were on, and
Yeah.
and there's another
Nice.
one. Look, yeah, Jeff is showing one,
Beauty.
and so Sean
best.
Hudachko after the show had to go and buy one of those.
That's awesome. They're fun, man. They're not now. So and then there was we finally got around to doing the really nice finished goods, the Hughes design by Claiborne Moore.
Wow, look at that.
Travis
That's awesome.
bragging.
Where were these? Were
There
any
you
of
go.
these? Were any of these sold in stores or anything, Brian? Or could
Yeah.
you only get them from you?
No. These were everything you're seeing here was offered through the comic shop market. So they
Wow.
were sold through stores. But even back then, Chaos was cultish as well. So there were a certain amount of stores. If there were even when Chaos Comics was the number 4 publisher, beating Batman consistently, it probably still was only carried by 350, 400 stores. We were always an outsider company.
I
Oh, wow.
love
Look at
that.
this thing.
I love that.
Oh man.
Wow. That's dope. How great is
Yeah,
that?
isn't that sick right there?
That's
Still
crazy.
on the belt too. That's what's crazy.
Even better. man.
So hard, man.
I love
I
that.
hard to
also
find
I owe some other OG fiends some major props for them hooking me up with these. You know what I mean?
Well, let's talk about that a little bit. And maybe
You know,
Jeff and Rob, you guys can kind of key in on this. That's a big part of this is trading between, your brothers and the people that are in the fellowship. That's a big part of this. And I imagine all you guys trade within the group. Jeff?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I definitely have. I got a lot of my back in the day too, there was a whole German book publishing going on, and so I hooked up with somebody in Germany there, and was trading a lot with that, and I got most of my stuff with that. That's some cool stuff, man.
Yeah,
those are some cool books.
Yeah, they produced really nice looking books.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah, it was Jerk the Crazy for German Fiend.
Yeah.
We had. Oh, sorry.
What about the stuff over your shoulder, Jeff? What's all that over your shoulder? Is that original art?
That is. I'm gonna have to roll with this one here.
Hell yeah!
It's all hanging up.
You're gonna have to show us this stuff, yeah.
So that's Jerry Beck's cover. Can you see that one? The script cover.
Yeah, that's amazing.
And that's all in duo shade. It's very similar to what Steven did with Youth Gone Wild. So that type of paper, it actually is like some sort of wash that you put on it. That there's several layers to the paper, so it's a little bit different of a process with that. Right? You know more about that, Brian?
Yeah, so it's an artist with pencil and ink, but they could literally use a paintbrush and an activator to get those middle tones, those sepia tones.
Yeah.
That's why they call it the duo shade. And that paper is very expensive and rare. I don't even know if they make it today. I don't know.
So cool. I love that. Those are two of my favorites. Those are my certificates for being Ultimate Evil Ernie Fiend.
That's dope.
Nice.
So that was another thing that we did through the years back, particularly in the 90s. We did a whole series. Like Hollywood has Oscars, we had Fiend Awards.
So this is my number one centerpiece of my collection.
Oh, dude, yeah. That's gorgeous.
Bought that right off of Steven in Chicago.
Wow.
Amazing.
Yep. Love that. That's it's been framed ever since, and I love it just as much to this day. So this is a piece that was done by Justiniano, and it was used for a cover for the Evil Ernie Lady Death Fiend Club newsletter. So that was a whole thing back in the day too. I have every issue of that, and that piece right there, right, Brian? That was the you can see that was hinting towards darker stories that never materialized.
You know, it's crazy. I know thanks for that's showing me that. I actually found that script recently. It was called Evil Ernie the Horror, and I read it, and it's super strong. Even though it's 25 years later, that story would probably just knock people on their ass. No joke. It's very, very strong stuff.
That means we need to get it.
This is the color guide for the back of
Evil
Ernie.
Nice. That's awesome.
Yeah, check it out. Here's the back, right here.
Yeah.
All right, hold on here.
Wow.
Look at that.
Yep, there it is.
Wow.
Yeah.
And what that image was when Steven originally came on board. He did some model sheets and turnaround drawings just to start getting used to all the characters. And he did it for every character. He did that full body Ernie. He did close-ups. He did Ernest Fairchild, Price, Dr. Young, Rick. The entire cast was drawn like that.
Oh man,
Jeff! I also noticed you held up the bloody variant of the Ernie bust.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was cool too. I have that as well. That's a limited piece. That
was limited. I think Brian and them just probably got together and
literally
drank a whole bunch and splattered it with blood.
Literally what we did. So we got a hold of those things. We just like splattered them, and we used like toothbrushes and got blood on those things and painted blood. But I mean, it's legit.
That's
it's badass. I have one too in the cabinet. But yeah, those are rare, man. Those are only to 300, and I know 2 of them have already broken. So we're down to 298 now. So
yeah.
We're doing all this because of the omnibus coming out, and one of my another one of my centerpieces here. I don't know if you can see these, but this is from Revenge, which will be in the omnibus, and these are the pages of the real origin of Evil Ernie, I like to say, because this is the 6-page section where he kills his parents.
Yes.
Oh,
wow.
Nice.
So,
dude, that's rad.
Look how good that looks. Oh my gosh.
I remember that
That's
page you were
history.
just on. Yeah, I remember it so vividly. That's crazy.
Unreal.
He had no choice.
That was I love it. Just to see Steven's artwork up like this up close is just, I mean, to me it's like, you know, he's one of the greatest ever. So I mean,
Look how
it's
beautiful.
it's absolutely amazing
Yeah.
Wow,
to see all the
having the
details.
sequence is incredible.
Yeah, all 6 pages right in a row. Yeah.
Wow.
And
Shout out to
speaking
Troy Hudson for hooking me up with that.
speaking
one.
of
Hell
the
yeah.
There you
Kickstarter,
go.
Yeah.
ladies and gentlemen, you only got about a day left to go, 26 hours. If you guys want to get in on this, it's already just completely kicking ass, and there's so many cool things. If you guys, you know, are new to collecting Evil Ernie stuff or any of the old school Lady Death stuff too, this is where you might want to get in, because there's a lot of cool collectibles that have been thrown in on this whole project, which is absolutely crazy. Lots of prints, lots of pins, you know, challenge coins, all kinds of stuff in this, along with the absolutely gorgeous omnibus editions, which is going to be crazy to have all of those together. And look how
They're
beautiful.
beastly. Just imagine Evil Ernie is 3 volumes. Purgatory's 2 volumes. Chastity's 1 volume. Lady Death is 4 volumes. In the Chaos universe, the balance of the characters, Lady Demon, Bad Kitty, somewhere between 3 and 4. So in the end, it's going to be like 3 feet long of hardcovers.
Wow. Wow. Robert,
It's a-
you kind of you're just recently went through a move. So you still, it sounds like a
Yeah.
lot of your stuff is
A lot
kind
of
still
my
just-
stuff is still in boxes and out of the way.
but
I
you
was
had
able
some
to pull
pretty cool
this.
prototypes too. What is this?
Brian,
Yeah.
can you tell me about this?
So
This is
as a young person, this artwork that was developed and commissioned with Eric Mache, and I part of what I was going to show today is here is that original art.
Wow.
Wow.
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh.
Over the course of close to 2 years, before I even looked to hire an artist, I worked with Eric Mache to develop Evil Ernie's look. And early on, even before comics, I was out there just trying to market and promote it. I was going to horror conventions. And so I made this thing, which was sort of an expanded sell sheet. And in the front is the art that you see, but in the back, I actually had a bunch of text so that I could orate my sales pitch.
That's awesome. That's history
yeah.
right there.
Yeah, and that's what Robert has was one and only. You know, I'd walk conventions. I go to like, you know, Fangoria, and just hustling. And maybe out of that, I probably met Michael Burnett Productions, and we wound up doing the statue and the smiley button together, things like that.
That's awesome.
That's awesome.
I love that type of
That's-
stuff.
Here's
I
one.
picked that up at an auction in San Diego or Chicago when you were doing all the comic book legal defense fund auctions, because
Yeah,
those were big back in the day.
they were great.
All right, Jeff, what is that?
There's a color guide. So back in the day, this is how they would do it. So now it's all done on computer, but this is like a transparency of Steven's art, and then it's colored.
That's how it would be colored. That's comics.
Yeah.
CMYK.
So what's cool about this one is this is the first page from Resurrection, which was in color. So then Smiley's saying, "Look at all the pretty colors," and it's the color guide. So I always love that. And it's signed by Brian, Steven, Mark Morales, and Tom Smith, the colorist. So
Very cool.
really cool. That's one of my favorites
Sick.
too.
Nice.
Beautiful.
Nice.
All right, what do
Can't
we got here,
forget this
Travis?
old guy.
Oh boy.
Oh man.
So again, that was released, I think it was June 1993. We released Evil Ernie the Resurrection 1, a smiley button, and we offered up the Evil Ernie model kit.
Wow.
The Evil Ernie model kit was sold through comic shops, but there was also, I was living in Southern California at the time. So around the corner was this pretty incredible model hobby shop. And I got them to take a couple on consignment. And the gentleman who ran that shop day to day took pity and built that model. And I met up with him later, and he said it was the most difficult thing to work with, la-di-da, but he did it. That same gentleman went on to be one of the co-founders of Sideshow Collectibles.
Oh wow, that's
Really?
even cooler.
Nice.
True story.
Look at
I don't think
that.
I've ever seen one put together and painted.
Yeah, that guy had the one. Yeah,
Wow.
I still have one in a box somewhere too. I've never got. I mean, I probably get off my ass and get one painted. It's about time. What am I
Right.
waiting for?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Rob, what
super
else?
cool, man.
Oh, that's
Oh, wow.
Fangoria.
Well, we got to talk
Yep.
about Fangoria because this is something a lot of the early Evil Ernie collectors look for, and I want to have you
Yeah.
explain this, Jeff, and show off what you got there.
Well, that's technically, Brian, you tell me, man. What's the first appearance of Evil Ernie? Is it Fangoria 108? Is it Malibu Sun number 8? Is it Evil Ernie number 1? What is it?
Look.
Comic Career News.
the first. Right. There's that. The first appearance in my vision of Evil Ernie is when the story starts unfolding in front of your face. So that's Evil Ernie Youth Gone Wild 1. However, you know, I appreciate and respect all the idea of like chasing it all down. And what you're looking at, Jeff, yeah, show that again, please.
Yep.
This was what, Evil Ernie 107 or 108? And
108.
yeah, and Tony Timpone at the time was the then editor-in-chief, who was a friend of mine, and Evil Ernie got featured. And it's a really beautiful feature article, like 2 to 3 pages, with all the art in there, and it timed out just very nicely when Ernie was released.
What's cool about this is it's not very expensive. If an Ernie collector wants to find this, you can usually find these for like $10 or $20. So it's
Great
not
point.
anything crazy, you know.
Yeah.
So
So hang on though, I just did notice an interesting variant. Chip, would you mind showing that again
Yeah.
and show that it has a UPC, right?
Yep.
So out there are versions of that without a UPC. It's blank.
Okay.
Yeah, and what's interesting about that is I have a couple of them and I did little remarks in them.
Oh, that's
Oh.
cool. That
So
is
be on
cool.
the lookout. I believe those might be subscriber copies, so there are definitely less of those, I think.
So
Oh, I got
I got 2 more, so I'll have to check.
Yeah.
I got like 5 or 6 copies. I look for.
I'm always looking for that Malibu Sun, and I think Brian, you said that the Malibu Sun number 7 has a preview of the cover of that in the back of it, right? Am I not mistaken in that?
Yeah, so close. So this is Malibu Sun 8. Some people, you know, this book has quite a provenance, but actually, and Evil Ernie is on the cover. He's not on the inside, but Malibu Sun number 6, which has a Reanimator cover, does have a multi-page preview of Evil Ernie in it.
Wow.
Oh, I did not know that. All right.
Now you know.
Now I know.
I would also say something. Oh, there you go. Comic Shop News 232. That's
Look at
super
that.
cool.
Yep.
Oh, that's awesome. And then 305.
Yeah. Yeah, so both for sure that's a badge of honor to be on there. And then Travis is holding the official Evil Ernie sell sheet, which was also made prior to number 1 coming out. That was probably tipped in to retailers' bags during the ordering cycle.
Oh, here we go. What do you got there, Rob? Look at this thing.
Yeah, this is gnarly.
That's
Halloween
awesome.
decorations. I believe they were prototypes, from what I remember. Is they
Can
were
you
never
tilt
produced.
it forward a little bit?
Yeah. Oh,
Okay.
There you go.
There was a Lady Death, an Evil Ernie, a Smiley, and a Dead King. Let me grab the Smiley real quick. Unfortunately, they do, being foam rubber, they do not stand the test of time, but they're as close as they're going to get.
Look at that smiley.
That's
That's
awesome.
That smiley's cool.
My favorite is the Smiley butt.
That's great.
That is cool.
Yeah, I think we were
Here's one
approached by- Oh, go for it.
Brian loves. I know
I
he
love
loves this cover. This
Oh,
actually,
yeah.
Brian has told me the story about this last Sworn Fest that I believe it was that this was one of the ones we were talking about with the trade paperback, This is the quality that Steven was doing at first, and then Brian told
Yes.
him, "Look, man, you're going to have to knock it down a little bit because this is just going to take forever." And so this is one of the first ones. I don't have the book that goes with this, but this is an actual inked piece, and then it was used on this cover that you can't really see. You got to get it right in the right light, but it's actually on there. It's probably the only cover that was actually made bigger, the actual thing, but.
Yeah,
Oh,
so the
wow.
cover itself is matte black, and then that image of Evil Ernie is just spot varnish.
Yeah, you can't really see it good over the camera, but yeah,
That's super
Well,
cool.
in light of the Omnibus Kickstarter going on, okay, we got to at least, recognize, I mean, come on.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So that's the
There you
first
go.
Lady Death cover. Say what you will. Eric Mache. I think I have a couple photos from that photo shoot. The actual photo is laying around. So like I'm posing as Evil Ernie.
That's awesome.
Right?
Look how
Yeah.
cool that is.
Brian back in the day.
Yep.
Yeah, that'll be rad to see this on the Omnibus. I'm gonna love that.
It's gonna be.
Yeah.
Yep.
I don't have it available right now. I can't remember where it's at, Brian, but there's also another cell sheet that one with it's like Ernie and Lady Death, but it's clearly you and Francisca, that their love will tear her apart or whatever it is.
Yeah.
What was that all about? Who did Eric Mache paint that? There you go. That.
Okay, so early on, as we were developing Evil Ernie, before I really discovered and it went on the journey of making her a horror hero, my original idea was Lady Death was going to be like a little California beach bunny. And it really was not really a good idea, but that was the starting point. And then somewhere along, and check out the cute little graffiti logo.
Yeah.
I learned about the horror hostess Vampira and her attitude. It wasn't even her look, really. Her attitude was so radical. Other comparable goth ladies like Morticia and Lily Munster, they were domesticated wives, but Vampira was like totally on her own, no man in her life, hot, but kind of scary. And she had the classic goth look, which was the black hair, the pale skin, the dark nails. But I thought, all right, let's go for complete absence of color. So that's the journey I started going on. So we did start here, and this is the Eric Mache painting. And then there's Brian in a straitjacket. And then here's the photo reference of Brian in a straitjacket.
That's cool, man.
Do you have that original painting?
No comment.
Oh.
Now, Brian, I've seen two different versions of that. One with a white back and one with another completely different script on the back, or telling
yes.
about Evil Ernie. Yes.
Yeah. So
And characters changed. I think Mary Young changed.
Oh, when I wrote Evil Ernie, it started out as Psycho Night. I probably did, without exaggeration, 50 drafts because I was actually learning how to write. I mean, I was learning how to spell. I mean, honestly, I would learn so much on that. So where that story began and where that story ended was monumentally different. Yeah, I mean, in the early Psycho Night drafts, there was no Lady Death. I had submitted the script to some, let's say TriStar or something like that. And back in those days, you could do stuff like that. And I got a call back from the development executive at whatever that company was. It was like a legit studio. And that person got on, a woman, and she got on the phone with me and gave me real live feedback. She said, look, your killer really has no motivation. I think you got to go do some homework and figure out why is he doing all this stuff. Honestly, that's what it was. And so I did. I took the coaching and I went back and I was like, okay, so what is this? And I don't exactly know why this thought came into my mind. It was behind every great man is a great woman. And I started imagining, okay, what is Evil Ernie's idea of the ideal woman? And unfortunately, very early on, it was basically a Playboy bunny or Kelly Bundy, something like that look. And I realized that if we're really going to make this a horror story, it's got to communicate horror. Hence moving Lady Death more towards the pale interpretation of death.
Yeah. Thank God you did that because we have
Oh yeah,
Lady Death.
this would not work. But this also just shows you that there really was a development process. Like even Smiley is quite primitive. It's just a smile button.
Yeah.
There's no, there's no eyebrows or anything. But I mean, that's a good tagline though. Their love will tear you apart.
Yeah.
Yes.
On the one that you have, Rob, too. It's got a nice little tagline.
And what do you got there, Rob? What is this?
Okay, this I got to show you. This is one of. It does not have Ernie on it, even though it's from Youth Gone Wild, but it's got something else. And I don't know if you can get us to see it real quick, but
Oh wow! But I know.
Oh,
what exactly-
Steven.
Yeah.
Wow.
it's got Steven drawn into it.
So
That's
Steven
awesome.
Hughes played the sheriff in the story. He also
That's
played
great.
in the Chaos Universe. He played Dr. Stone.
Oh man, what a great.
Oh yeah.
page.
Okay. Yep.
That's killer.
That's cool.
That is cool.
Now,
Travis, what you got there?
the orb.
Oh, that's sick.
So Travis, try to really get that close to the camera. What you're looking at is the Evil Ernie orb. Now, if you wrap your mind around this thing, they were individually hand painted.
Show
Which
the bottom.
meant
There you go.
A
Whoa.
person had to get a paintbrush in through the bottom and paint in reverse and
From
upside
the
down.
inside, yes.
That is unbelievable.
And those were commercially
Great.
available. We sold several hundred of them.
I have one too. Yeah.
Hell yeah. I got mine.
Yeah, they come on like a rotating base and everything. It's pretty
A little
cool.
bit.
Wow.
Remember this pewter thing, Brian?
I love it. Yeah,
Remember
for
that?
sure.
That was one of my first Ernie pieces that I picked up.
Yep.
Yeah, that's the
Got one of
best.
those. Yep, that was one of my first ones too. Yep.
That was
That's
made by
beautiful.
Clay Moore also, who,
And it's numbered on the back in the pewter, which is really cool too.
that is cool.
Did you
Right.
happen to grab 666, Brian, and keep that for yourself?
I wish I did.
What is this, Travis?
That's the Fiend Club card.
Oh, that's
the
badass.
first one.
Could you tilt it just a little forward because we're getting glare?
There you go.
Yeah.
What's cool about that one is it's glow in the dark.
There we go. Maybe this will. And it's this is what we were talking about at the beginning about the chromium style card. So this is the
Man, if we
chromium.
could bring back chromium, I'd love
I-
that.
I
I
talk
think
about
those
it all
guys-
the time.
So
Honest to God,
you can
became
see
born
that.
again.
Yeah, I heard that. Yeah.
So yeah, you can really see the shine and the reflection there.
Beautiful.
Well, that's the Fiend
And a
Club
lot- a
card.
lot
This
of
is
those
the
you
Fiend Club
see.
membership card.
Hell yeah.
Yep,
got
I got
mine.
that one too. Yep.
Number 89, signed by Brian.
Nice.
That was 1945.
1420.
I sent it in the day that I got that book. It was in the back. I sent it in right away and got 89. I couldn't believe it.
That's fantastic.
Wow, that's awesome.
To complement the card, here is the actual color guide to
Oh,
the Fiend
there,
Club.
yeah. Yep.
And one of the cooler things I think about this is way at the bottom, you see Jason Jensen's working out all his colors with these little lines. I wonder what happened to the OA of this, man. Oof. But this is the color, actual color.
Yeah, it's incredible.
It's incredible. The other,
Yeah.
I mean, I'm objectively a fan of this stuff equally. I like it. Like I write the comics that I would want to read, so I am
Right.
also a fan of it.
Yeah.
The old frisbee, of course.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
flying disc.
Yep.
And listen, everybody's been going crazy over the past 10 years now. It's like at a hot pitch level for old school merchandise. And look at this.
There you go. That's cool.
So-
Nice.
So that
Nice.
just
Original
has the
shirt.
original Fiend Club shirt.
Worn maybe once. I bought 2 of them.
Hope you washed it.
Yeah.
I wore mine a lot when I was younger. I wore mine always.
Well, the reason why I say I hope you
I was
washed it is
proud.
because they say that with a lot of these old school merchandise, especially shirts, that it's better to have them be washed because if you don't wash them, they get this weird type of rot where they'll
really?
fall apart. So, if anybody out there is looking, for the old school shirts and stuff, make sure that you check for that type of rot, which is
Gotcha.
like falls apart when you rub on it. It's very interesting.
So for today's show and tell, I wanted to show some things. So I'll let Travis do what he's doing. That's a beauty.
Oh, yeah. This is just also in light of
nice.
the Kickstarter, all the cards. So here's like, a full box with the whole, it would prop up. You would put it on display. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah. Yep. I love that.
Pretty cool.
Yeah.
But
I
I'd
kind of
love to
like
see
that
what
the card
Brian-
box looks like a grave.
Yeah.
yeah,
I
it's
think we
rad.
played into that one time too. Like eventually we
Yeah,
got
there was-
around to that.
There was one that was more like a grave. That might have been the first set. It wasn't chromium though.
Oh yeah, it was the first set. That's right.
Yeah.
That's cool.
What you got, Brian?
So what I have is my first ever drawings of Evil Ernie.
Oh,
Yeah. Damn.
So
look
it
at that.
doesn't, it's not where he landed, but it's where he began with the leather jacket, the jeans, the boots, and all these action lines just sort of indicate that he had an energy.
Wow.
And then I kept drawing him sort of unconsciously. These were drawings that I kept and collected. Let me see here.
oh, that's dope.
Oh wow. Yeah, never seen these.
Yeah, it's cool.
Here's another, and in each one, I think you start seeing some progress. So here's another one where finally get to see Ernie's spine,
Oh yeah. Yeah.
some early smileys, drawings. And I was doing all these as Ernie in the straitjacket. And these all predated even Eric Mache having
Wow.
a psychotic, see if I get there, have a psychotic day.
And this is all just done on scrap paper and like Post-it notes or what?
Yeah,
That's what it
I mean,
looks
That's
like.
awesome.
I at
That's
least I had the
awesome.
wherewithal to hold on to them, but it'd be just like,
Right?
I don't even think I was saying, hey, I'm creating a character. But I just
Wow.
kept coming back to certain commonalities like the hair, the leather jacket, the boots, that look.
The crazy part is that you actually kept them. Like the
Yeah.
chances to have those is amazing. So
I'm
thank you for
thankfully I'm a longtime collector, so that helps.
that. Yeah.
I definitely I collect the most obscure stuff. I mean, yeah, I do collect stuff.
That's like in us as the human, and we're born collectors. We just don't know what we're gonna collect yet, but there is something that you're gonna collect.
It's fascinating. I'm married to my lovely wife who does not collect. So
Wow.
look at that ornament.
Remember those ones?
Yeah. The ornament.
She collected you.
Yep.
Yeah, that's true.
Here's your
Yeah, right.
here's your smiley to go with it.
There you go.
Those ornaments were amazing. The detail that was in it, the Lady Death especially, that was
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, they were
That's
kind of the action figures or buttons recast.
Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense.
Here's a fun one while guys are looking around for stuff. So this is a copy of the Comic Buyer's Guide ad that I placed in Comic Buyer's Guide to audition artists for Evil Ernie.
Oh, I think that is
Oh, wow.
your very first right there. That's the very first. That's got to be it, right?
That's it. Well, first published between this simultaneously, it was also published as a full page ad in a magazine called Comic Career Newsletter.
Wow.
So what did you when Steven responded to that, what did he send you?
So contextually, I literally had given up. I put that ad in. I got about 70 responses. A lot of it was chicken scratch. 0 comic professionals paid attention to it. I got 11 responses that I tried out, and those people, for whatever reason, failed, whether it was the quality of the work they turned in or lack of professionalism. And I quit. I was like, okay, I guess it's not meant to be. Okay, I'm going to go back to work. So, and then about 3 weeks later, another person, a guy whose name is kind of lost to time, submitted, and he was the owner of a company called Blue Comet Press, and he inked Steven on some books like Bladesman and others. And so they sent in samples. And I actually responded right away. I thought there was something there. I thought that, I don't know how I knew this, but I knew there was something primitive about the inks, but there was something advanced about the pencils. So I got in touch with both of them and spoke to both of them. And I hired them. Boom, work made for hire to do Evil Ernie. But strangely, the inker guy sort of turncoated on me and was bypassing me after we made a deal and was getting in touch with Steven and saying, you know what, F this guy, we can make our own thing. We don't need him, blah, 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 blah. Well, Steven read the writing on the wall and saw that I had drive, that I had ambition. By that time, I had driven from New Jersey all the way up to meet Steven, and we had an instantaneous connection. We had instant chemistry, instant connection. Lennon and McCartney, Jagger and Richards, like it was palpable. And the things that we agreed on, disagreed on, etc. And so Steven actually outed that guy on that. And I called that dude up and I wild on him. I said, bro, you're fired. I'm going with Hughes. And then from there on,
History.
Steven and I spent the better part of a year. I had written the script and spent a year bringing it to life. And then I began the submission process of submitting to potential publishers, and ultimately took the best of all these terrible deals that were offered. And the rest is history.
Wow. Oh, that's cool.
True story.
Yeah, it is.
Oh, some shot glasses.
Nice.
I love that all black one with like the embossed enamel on it. Yeah.
Yeah,
Dude,
this
I'm
is-
gonna bust out that smiley shot glass for tomorrow night. I gotta
Hell
find
yeah,
mine.
dude.
Can you talk a
Hell
little
yeah.
bit about tomorrow night? What's going on tomorrow night? And
Well, tomorrow night we have like almost a keg of jungle juice over here at. So we have an invitation only party here at the Coffin Comics Clubhouse, inviting our friends to celebrate the close of this campaign. We will go live from around 6 p.m. to 7 whatever Pacific time, but we're inviting people. There is a link on my Facebook page and on the Kickstarter update. We also have special guest Nick Barucci. It's legendary that Nick and I were at one point acrimonious, and now we've been working together for the better part. I mean, we've been all healed up for the better part of a year, but we've been working together on this stuff since last August. And just go on the record here. It's like, working with Team Dynamite's been a blast, been really supportive, really very, very supportive of what I was interested in doing, and, really good partners on this stuff. What can I say? It's been really, I now know to expect it, but in the beginning, I'm like, well, how's this all going to go? Once Nick and I sorted our stuff out, I was like, okay, so what should we do? And Nick Barucci said to me, he's like, whatever you want it to be, I know it's going to satisfy the fans. That's what it should be. And I was just like, wait, what? And he, what? And it's true. And that's really how it's all played out.
So what does the future hold for future stories there, boss?
If you can believe this, we have not discussed it. And
Really?
other than saying that there's an interest, I think Dynamite expressed a level of interest, and I said, I've had a level of interest. It's not gone past that. Hand to God, not lying.
Good.
Yeah. So, however, my brain has been percolating, and if anything were to come together, I can tell you without a shadow of a doubt, I know what is happening with every character in that universe, what their new baseline is. And I know Evil Ernie's story. I know Purgatory's story. I know Chastity's story. I know Lady Demon's story, Bad Kitty's story, Bedlam's story, the lot. I know what they would be doing if I picked up in the present.
That's awesome.
Like hypothetically, obviously, would there be a crossover with the characters? Like, could we see a Hell Witch versus Purgatory?
In my mind, I think the reasonable thing to do would be to spend a year reestablishing that chaos universe. What's going on with those characters? What's going on, and why? And then maybe year 2 would be massive crossover fights, etc., with the Coffin universe. But then I think year 3 might even be more fun, because it could be Chaos versus Coffin versus Dynamite, meaning, the Red Sonias, the Vampirellas.
Gargoyles.
Yeah. Who'd you say? Yeah.
Gargoyles.
Yeah. Gargoyles. Yeah. Ben 10.
Darkwing Duck.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes. but all the characters that you think would match up, I think that would be a fun 3 to 4 year plan.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I love fight comics, so it's all very rich. The idea of, who Lady Death has grown to be. If she did meet Evil Ernie, what really would that be like? I mean, they're in different spots, right? Like, it seems like Empress Death is more of like a match with Evil Ernie. Would Lady Death and Evil Ernie be romantic, or would they be enemies at this point? She's on a different path. So, but there's so many interesting questions like that. The character in my mind that bridges everything of these universes, because in the Chaos Comics universe, there is the nexus of all things, and Bedlam is the character that travels. So I could see Bedlam is the one who kind of, might be the conduit.
That would be cool. That'd be super cool.
Yeah. So I don't know. So those are some of my preliminary thoughts.
Well,
Oh, yeah.
I think that was one of the questions that had been asked most in chats and comments and people reaching out and saying, "Hey, what's going on with this?" So I'm glad you asked that, Jeff. That was spot on, brother. That's
Yeah,
what
but
we
I mean,
wanna hear.
honestly, hand to God, like so far, nothing. I mean, one thing I would understand though is if it were to happen, what is my Brian Pulido's obligation to these characters? And I know the first obligation for Evil Ernie is it has to be inordinately, groundbreakingly violent. I do know that. I also understand that it has to be heartfelt, and that I understand that it has to be funny. It has to be all those things, and over the top. So I'm super clear. It's got to be all those things. I personally, and in my mind, the continuity is the continuity from my run. That's how I would see it. So I believe that my run and how it ended is valid. And there was some crazy shit happening at the end there, right? Armageddon, World War II, all that. But I think I figured all that out too. And I believe that we just pick up years later in the aftermath of what went on.
Well, just like you did with Lady Death, right? I mean,
yeah.
But
I think particularly with Ernie, I think I really figured it out where it would be very satisfying.
Okay.
Is there a specific artist that you could see doing Ernie again?
Yeah, I've been really lucky in working with very, very talented artists all the time. So I actually do not have a particular attachment, but that person has to be able to draw everything with complete flexibility. Sort of like, like Justiniano, Steven, David Brewer, the current artists have always been very, very lucky like that. So I don't have a personal attachment because it's not real. So.
Yeah.
I will say that Simon cover is amazing on the Kickstarter.
Yeah,
it is. Yeah.
I thought it was fun. Like, Nick Barucci said, well, hey, let's do some new version of Youth Gone Wild, but let's do it with an artist who's never done Evil Ernie before. And I go, man, some unfinished business is having Simon Bisley do Evil Ernie. And I contacted Simon, like he answered me a couple hours later, kaboom.
Yeah, beautiful.
Yeah.
Rob Breyer.
There you go. Yep.
Yeah, so check out Jeff Henson's showing an image that was never a cover. It's actually by Rob Pryor.
That's beautiful.
Here's a tidbit. When I talked to him about this, he claims that he hid Sesame Street characters all in here.
That's awesome.
I don't know. I want to say like that is Big Bird. I don't know if you can see that.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
I have not found any other Sesame Street characters in there, but there is definitely a lot going on in this piece. It's hard to show with all the glare, but yeah.
Oh, that's beautiful.
That was amazing. I remember they had that on display at Chicago in like 98 or 99 at your booth.
You know what that speaks to is the fact that in my own research doing the omnibus, I have uncovered like 24 pieces of art that have never been covered. I'm not exaggerating. Like that Rob Pryor piece, I've uncovered many other pieces that have never been covered, and my jaw's on the floor because it's like, oh wow, something might have been maybe a calendar piece, or we never got around to it, or it was a promotional piece. It's super fascinating. It's like it never got to be done, and like 12 of them are Hughes pieces.
Wow.
Do you think you'd ever?
What's that?
Do you think you'd ever make prints out of any of those or anything?
I do think that there's an open dialogue between us. And one of the things that I would love to suggest is the idea of like doing Chaos Classics. So maybe representing material that had never been presented before, in that particular category. Because I know there's a drive for people who want new things. I get that. But also these classics, I think there's a place for them as well. So it's definitely something that I'll propose coming up.
Well,
But like those 12 pieces or whatever that you found, will those be in the omnibus?
Some will, as it relates to the subject matter that we're discussing, and like the secret origins and all that kind of stuff.
Gotcha.
But not all.
Oh.
Not all, because they just won't be relevant to the conversation. But
Gotcha.
they exist, and they could show up in another way.
very cool. We have, speaking of conventions, we've talked about conventions and stuff in today's segment. We got conventions coming up. We've got Phoenix Fan Fusion this weekend. We've got Tucson
there.
Comic Con coming up. We've got
We'll be
San
there.
Diego coming up. I mean,
Yeah.
you're going to be
These are
busy.
Well, these are the big ones. So we have Phoenix Fan Fusion this weekend, some beautiful exclusives, including Mark Silvestri.
Ooh.
We have San Diego Comic-Con coming up. I could announce right now some crazy exclusives. Sozomaka, John Chang, Dan Panosian, Frank Cho. The list it's on like Donkey Kong, dude, for San Diego.
Wow. I can't
we
wait
have
for
a-
that Panosian. I'll tell you that right now.
It's beautiful. And we have a blind bag, but it's limited to 250, and it has insane variants by all those artists we just discussed.
Wow.
Yeah, this is our Phoenix. That continues our tarot. Monty Moore created that image at Phoenix last year, and now it's an exclusive for this year.
Mike Chrome,
Mike Chrome,
Mike Chrome.
rocking it out.
one of my favorite, probably one of the most underrated artists in comics right now.
Oh yeah,
my
you got to
opinion.
see what he has coming up is crazy.
Oh boy. So
Yep.
there
So we
go.
have Mike DeBalfo. There's a classic image that we call Blood Moon, and there's like a whole fandom just for this image. The original image was Lady Death, and now we're about to unveil a series of Blood Moon images with all the female characters. So
That's
first
awesome.
one up is Chaotica,
That is beautiful.
Nice.
We love
It's a
Mike
beauty.
Balfour
And then-
over here.
and then this is Mark Silvestri. This is a 10-year anniversary image of Scully Pop done as Virgin Art for Mark's appearance here at the con.
That is cool. Very
That's a cool one.
Yeah.
Yep.
So there we go. For those of you guys who are going to make it out to Phoenix, there's some things that you need to add to your list. And then, of course, Tucson is going to be crazy too. So can you
Tucson
tell us-
Comic Con, like some of our big guests. I think we just signed a celebrity today. I can't talk about, but it's bananas. And then people we can talk about is we have Jim Starlin, Mark Texiera, Stephen Grant, Michael Friedrich. Go look him up. He was the scripter for Iron Man 55 and 56. Guy was on a whole
Nice.
bunch of stuff. Travis, who am I forgetting? We have for announced guests.
Brian Pulido.
I'll be
Yeah,
there.
Brian Pulido.
I'll be there.
James O'Barr. James O'Barr will be
Ooh.
there.
Yeah, we have James O'Barr. We have Joe Benitez. Yeah, we'll announce some more people too. So we haven't announced everybody, so it's who we announced so far. But
Yep.
yeah, it's Tucson Comic Con, as usual, is stacked. It's the best convention in the Southwest. It's the #1 event out of the Tucson Convention Center. It is the biggest event that's held. It's the most amount of people in a weekend in that convention center.
Awesome. That's
Yeah,
gonna
so
be
we-
great.
Now, Tucson Convention Center, Tucson, if people were there last year, we actually expanded out into the arena. And if you could believe it, this year we're expanding into yet another space called Hall B, and we're turning that into our Hall of Heroes, which is going to be a massive, 20,000 square foot array of cosplay groups and vignettes and, all kinds of cool displays.
That's awesome.
Yeah, we're
Nice.
taking it up a notch at Tucson Comic Con. And Travis can speak from experience because he's part of the science team.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's a great time. It's a great convention. It's every guest that we've ever had interactions with, or we've asked, how was your con? Did you enjoy it? How were things? They always say that it's the best con they've ever been to. Every time.
The thing that I'll say about Tucson Comic Con, and it's by design, is this convention has a soul. The people who work the convention, by which there are no volunteers, everyone is paid. I think we, by agreement, hire people that are just super soulful, and people want to make an experience that feels soulful. I mean, Travis, you could kind of agree or disagree, but I think that's our goal.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Yep.
we say we're America's friendliest convention, and it's a con with a soul.
Hell yeah.
Yep.
Well, I'm
Yeah,
looking
it's
forward
great.
to trying
Speaking
to
of
make it out
friendly.
this year.
This is a German version.
I love it.
There.
Nice. There you go.
That's how
I love
friendly it is.
Pulido.
How's that?
That's
That's
great.
awesome.
That's
The
great.
German editions are incredible.
Well, listen, you guys, I can't thank you enough for coming on the show today. Jeff,
Thanks for
Travis,
having us.
Rob, it's very nice to meet you. I hope to meet you guys in person one day at a con or something. And I plan to stay in touch with you guys. And Brian, again, thank you so much, my brother, for coming on
Thank
today.
you, Brian, for everything. We really appreciate it. Hopefully see you this weekend if you make it out. And guys, yeah, Travis, Robert, Jeff, above all, thank you for the friendship through the years. I hold each one of you a very special place in my heart. It kind of goes beyond all this stuff, right? It's like we all really go back now.
Amen.
We're
Awesome.
family.
Absolutely.
All right.
Hell yeah, bro. We love
Appreciate
you,
you
man.
guys. We'll talk
All
to you
right.
soon.
You too, man. Love you. Peace
See you
out.
guys.
See
Later,
soon.
guys.
Take it easy.
Rocket.
Wow, what a show, you guys. What a great way to start the show. And we got to bring in one of our esteemed co-hosts, ladies and gentlemen, Emmett from Haven for Heroes. Emmett, how you doing, brother? Oh, you're on mute. You're on mute.
Good, man. Good.
Oh, there you
Real
are.
Good. Oh,
There you
Yeah,
go. I
can
think
you
you're
hear
good now. Check.
yeah. Okay. Check.
Yep,
Yeah.
there you go. You're
All right.
good.
Yeah. No, things are good. Business is booming, man. It's barely have enough time to pull the comics. It's crazy.
Hey, that's a good
Yeah,
thing,
we're
though,
starting-
right?
Yeah, we're starting to get into tourist season. People are coming up. School's letting out soon, so people are coming up on the weekends, and we get a lot of people looking to move out of the city. We're like a far suburb of New York City, and
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
we do have a fellow New Yorker joining us tonight as well. And ladies and
Awesome.
gentlemen, Heidi, are you there? I think your camera is off, but we
I
can
think
hear you.
I am. Oh, I am trying. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear
Yes.
you. Yes.
Okay, let's see about my camera. Oh, I see why it's not on. How do you like that?
I
Okay.
like that. Look at that.
Can you see me now?
Ladies and
Yes.
gentlemen, welcome the esteemed Heidi MacDonald joining us.
Well, thank you, but I'm having a lot of tech problems tonight, so my camera might die in the middle of this, or anything could happen. So just being forewarned,
Well,
because
I-
tech decided to turn against me.
I'm just glad you're here. We've been talking a lot behind the scenes, me, Emmett, and Jesse, and Sean, and one of the things that we would love on this channel is to try and get you to come on at least once a month and have these type of conversations with us, because I think that there's only a few people in my mind that I kind of consider like the places to go and to talk about the comic industry, and you are definitely one of them. And the Beat is the place where, one of the three main places where I'm going to get my comic news in the comic book industry. And we're kind of trying to figure it out over here. And I think that there's this very different way of looking at the industry, depending on what you do in it and how long you've been part of it. And I'm the rook in all this. I'm the rook and trying to figure this out here. And shout out to Dennis, who always has called me like I was the Padawan, and him and Jesse were teaching me things. So that's kind of how we feel, and I feel like you're one of these Jedis, Heidi, in this industry.
Well, my God, I finally made it to Jedi. There you go. You do this thing, and then suddenly someone says, and Heidi is a legend. So now I'm a Jedi legend. So yeah. Well, I'm happy to come on. I don't watch you guys every week, but I try to watch you, at least dip in. And, I do rail on the Beat against, the 3-hour podcast, but I guess that's just how it is now. So,
yeah.
yeah. And, it's interesting as people's source of information has gone from blogs and news sites and all that, which is what I do. I mean, that's really what I do. I am a blogger or a writer, but now they go to the video and they like the 3-hour podcast. So, you know, you have to expand your reach or tell your story some way. So, and God knows there's a lot going on out there.
Oh man, it is
Yeah.
crazy. One of the big stories that hit this week was the Dark Horse news, and you know, talk of unions in the comic industry again, which is very interesting. You know, I'd love to hear both your guys' thoughts on that. Heidi, like when you first saw that, what was your thoughts?
I was like, you know, where are we? Because it just seems like, you know, Godzilla could come around the corner any moment and walk through the city. Like, yeah, just everything's happening so quickly and so fast and so seismically. And, you know, it's happening really fast. I mean, I didn't see that one coming. I have to be honest. Now, I don't know a lot of people at Dark Horse, so maybe if I knew more, I would have seen it coming. But, you know, I feel like everything going on at Dark Horse has been probably known locally because it's such a huge part of the whole Portland area comic scene. But a lot of it's, I don't, you know, take some digging to figure out what's going on there, right?
Yeah. Well,
So,
and
you
like
know,
like you said, there's a lot of news all over the place with them. You know, we talked last time you were on. I think we talked about the Mike Richardson thing, which was,
right.
you know,
That's right.
unbelievable. And then we heard the news about them, you know, kind of parting ways with their retail chain, you know, Tifa, which was also very interesting. And now there's this.
Well, but you missed a step in there, which was the whole reorganization under the Embracer Group. And I think that's why we don't really know what's going on there, is because they have this parent company, this owner, which is the Embracer Group. And, you know, they're not in our circle,
Yeah.
right? Like we don't really talk to them a lot and or at all.
Yeah.
And they've been going through such macro problems, right? Like they started out as this video game company based in Sweden, and they were doing quite well. And I don't have the list of companies that they own, but they own some pretty mega gaming companies. They're doing quite well. And then they got the Saudi money that they were going to just expand. So they bought Dark Horse. They bought the rights to the Lord of the Rings. That's a big one. And like went on a shopping spree, but before they had the money, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go. Like, and you know, they are public, so we get lots of juicy filings, but they're so I haven't even, so much is happening. I haven't had a chance to sit down with them, but yeah, they were going to get I think $2 billion from the Saudi investment fund, and then all of a sudden it did not happen, and that was a bummer for them, a big major freaking bummer. And like right away they pivoted. They're like, oh, well, we don't know. Like apparently they learned this the night before their earnings call, which then the guy comes out and he's just like, oh, well, things have changed, plans changed. And so they've just been reorganizing and shedding unprofitable video game companies and doing all this stuff. Then Dark Horse is kind of just a bit off at the corner doing its own little thing without too much public scrutiny. So where it fits in right now, what they want to do with it, and you know, how all this happened. I mean, they keep saying IP, and you know, Dark Horse
is not that IP group usually. They're coming up with their own stuff.
They don't really outright own Hellboy. You know, that's owned by Mike Mignola, right? And they don't own the Frank Miller stuff. That's owned by Frank Miller. You know, Umbrella Academy, I'm not sure what the rights are there, but I would imagine that Gerard Way has a controlling interest in it, right?
I would think so, yes.
I haven't looked at the indicia, so I'm not certain. It seems like, which is awesome. It's awesome that they're the Mask. Well, that's was created by Mike Richardson. So pretty sure Dark Horse has dibs on that.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, but whatever IP they have, if it ends up being like what hedge funds do, they're just going to cut it up into little pieces and sell it off piece by piece, especially when they have to deal with a union. Especially if
that's the scary
part. Well, they're
right?
probably used to dealing with unions if they're a just say Swedish or
Finland. They're Swedish, so they're come from a socialist country, so I bet they love unions, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know if they're the people they have running Dark Horse love it.
Well,
Um,
how long? Here's the scary thing, and anytime you
I
bring
think
up
this was a reaction to the closing of the store, and this is a way to try to retain jobs.
well, but I think you're right. And here's the thing, and we all have been taught. This is the one thing I do know about Dark Horse. They have a very large staff. Okay, like over 100 people, and that does include the people who work at the retail stores. So, which was obviously a few folks, because it takes a lot to run the stores, and Embracer's been cutting, but they haven't really cut people at Dark Horse. There might have been one or two layoffs, but mostly they've been cutting projects. That's what I have heard, like very quietly over the last couple of years, really. They've been canceling projects here and there. Nobody's really spoken out. There hasn't been a huge outcry about it, but they definitely have been cutting back. And I think Mike was probably holding on to that staff. If I know Mike, that seems in character for him. I mean, there's some other things he did that apparently weren't so awesome, but that sounds very Mike like to me. So with him gone, I'm pretty sure the handwriting is on the wall that, we're going to have some cuts, we're going to have some layoffs, and I'm sure the union is a reaction to that. So
yeah, but I think it really felt like in the last 5 years that they haven't been so much of the maverick that they were. They really weren't taking chances on projects. A lot of licensing, they kept losing the licenses and then getting new licenses, and then instead of, hey, lean into some new work, try to get some long-term ongoing. You discovered a Hellboy. Why not discover another?
Well, it feels more and more every day, and at least from my point of view, that we're moving further and further away from that old school, independent comics feel of creating, these IPs and building them and building out, creating, kind of like what Mike was doing, to this Embracer, this corporate thing. We see what's going on with Marvel right now, and this huge, push to where I don't think they're these comic guys that are going to be taking over Marvel publishing for sure. It doesn't feel like that. But I mean, he did come out and say that his favorite hero is Absolute Batman, which was pretty surprising to hear. So,
well, I think that was to maybe to let the people at Marvel Comics know that he wants something successful and quickly.
Well, hold on. This is the thing. He said that on a podcast a year ago. This is not a contemporary
great
statement.
point.
Okay.
Great point.
And now I'm forgetting. So, I've had quite a day, so all the facts are going straight out of my head. But what's Winderbaum, right? What's his name? I can't remember his name.
Hold on here.
Yeah, I think it's
He's
Brad
the
Winderbaum.
TV
Brad,
development guy.
yeah, Brad Winderbaum. He went on this podcast a year ago and said this. It was not a thing he said this week. And but he's very accessible. I mean, he does, he's the public face of Marvel Animation. So he is talking to podcasters and talking to reporters and all that sort of stuff. So he's very smart. I mean, he's an A-lister, okay? Like, I've never dealt with him personally, but everything I've heard about him, that he is Kevin Feige's right-hand man. And to me, that is, Kevin trusts this guy a lot. Obviously, he's had a hand in a lot of really great TV properties, a couple movie properties. And so, his track record is promising. Even given everything, and then you get your dinner. That's how it should be.
Hell
on
yeah,
live
brother.
streaming.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, but I don't think that the track record of the current people in charge of Marvel Comics is very good.
Well,
what do you think, Heidi?
Well, I have a lot of respect for Dan Buckley. I mean that. Rob Liefeld and I were going at it a little bit on Twitter because he hates Rob hates Marvel.
Yeah.
Let's be honest.
Yeah.
And so,
Well, most of my hate's for Cebulski. So and it's not hate. It's just I don't think he does his job.
Well, I'm going to the funny thing is I've been around so long, so I have personal relationships with all these people. So, I'm not nothing I say is about personal, right?
Yeah, of
Nothing
course.
about personality.
Yeah.
Of course. I want to make that clear. But, if we're looking at it, they've all been there for 20 years. And what they've really failed to do is create new stars there. And, here's my question to you. Everybody is like, who is going to replace CB as editor-in-chief? Because as we all know, that is a job that comes with an expiration date. I think I think Casada was the first one to say that. And then Axel said it, right? And then, so we know. So who is going to replace him? Like if you we played this game a year ago before all this started happening. Like, who's going to replace CB as editor-in-chief?
Well, if I had my way,
would
it would be Rob Liefeld if I had my way.
Yes, that is the choice. Yes,
because I want to just see it go crazy. Let's just see it go crazy. I don't think that's going to happen, though. No.
So I don't think he's a corporate kind of guy. I mean, they need somebody that can live within the structure, but also go out on a limb and take some risks and bring in some new people to try new things to excite the public. Yeah, I mean, Lord just said that Kirkman don't want it. I mean, he's very comfortable where he's at. He would be great.
He rules in hell and heaven. Why would he go to Marvel?
Right. And the other thing is that he does most of the work himself. I mean, you want somebody that can not only do work, but also see good work, right? I don't think like retreading guys over and over and over again who had unsuccessful runs, rebooting books before they have a chance to find an audience when they are good books. Like my worry, Daredevil's right now really good. Zdarsky's run was really good, but Phillips' run right now, I think that's how you say her name, right?
Stephanie Phillips.
Stephanie Phillips.
Yeah.
Her run is really good. It's a
her
great
Daredevil
read.
is excellent so far. Yeah.
So my worry is they won't give her 24 issues or 36 issues.
It sounds
a 3-year run to build big.
It sounds like they're pretty good with her, and they're letting her create all these new characters. And if you're letting somebody create all these new characters, it feels like to me you would want them to be around for quite a long time, creating all these new characters, because there's like something like 8 new characters or more, something crazy that she's creating in this run. So that's, I feel like that. And she's one of the few people that here's something that I find very interesting. And Stephanie Phillips is doing it especially lately, excuse me, where she utilizes social media very well. And I feel like
she's great at
it. I feel like that's a big part of, if I'm the rookie looking down and saying, what do I want? That's one of the things that I would like to have. Okay, my creators are not only interested in creating, these amazing stories, but are they going to be able to help promote this stuff on social media, that type of things, and, be out there for it.
Right.
That's a big deal.
Well, I think that because they don't spend enough money on marketing or any money, almost no money on marketing, and they not require, but if you want to have a good book, you have to go out and do your own marketing, the artist and the writers, that they have in their contracts. They should get some kind of, when it reaches this number, you get another bump, and you, instead of like a page rate, there should be a page rate, but then there should be, if your book goes up 10,000
incentives, there should be incentives.
Absolutely, especially since you have to do the goddamn marketing.
Well, not everyone is a Chip Zdarsky, right?
Right, but she's on Instagram or TikTok every single day.
Oh yeah, she's a
Every day.
she's worked the TikTok. Every time I flip on TikTok, which isn't actually all that often, she's on there. Well, I think with Marvel you have to go back. You have to really like the seeds of the Marvel of now were planted a long time ago, and it all has to do with Ike Perlmutter, right? So this goes back to really like the Marvel Knights era, as I call it, the Ultimates era. And what's funny is 20 years ago, well, 25, almost 30 years ago now, Marvel had this whole, the heroes world, they went bankrupt. They fired the whole staff. It was Marvel Cution, and it was in the doldrums. And I remember one of the things that people were always saying is like, you got Spider-Man being written by Howard Mackey. Look, no disrespect to Howard Mackey, but I guess the idea was that, Howard Mackey is not the superstar. I mean, he has fans, but he doesn't move a lot of books, right? Okay. And I'm very sorry if Howard Mackey is listening. So, but I mean, this is just, but they were like, oh, here's where Marvel is at. It's complacent. It's exactly what you were just saying, Emmett, right? Then the Marvel Knights came in to experiment and their little office. And then, Gemmis was brought in, and then Quesada's brought in, and Gemmis just played, he was your Rob Liefeld. If you want to know what it was like, if Rob Liefeld was the publisher of Marvel Comics, that would be Bill Gemmis, okay? Because he just didn't care. I mean, it was the Wild West, right? Like just Marvel and Rawhide Kid and all this stuff that went on, and the Ultimates, that's what lifted comics out of this doldrums that they had been in, was the Ultimates, right?
100%. Ultimate Spider-Man,
right.
Ultimate X-Men, Ultimate Fantastic Four.
Yeah. And, bringing on Bendis, Bendis was a struggling cartoonist, then publishing, with his own line of books. I guess it was through Caliber. Anyway, all new superstars. They bring in Bendis, they bring in Straczynski, they bring in all these A-listers, Christopher Priest, and all of a sudden the books are good and exciting again. They're bringing people into the stores. Okay.
Oh my gosh, that's a hard formula. Just make good freaking
I
books.
mean, it kind of is the simplest possible thing, and it just works every single. I mean, Julius Schwartz did it in 1956, right? Stan did it. Then,
it's been done a bunch.
It's been done a bunch. It over and over and over again. It's a very simple formula that works. But Ike was the owner. I was Ike and Avi Arad, and then they get into the movies. So I think that they were spending money to try to get the movies off the ground, right? Because they formed their own studio.
Cash cow.
Yeah.
Big, right. So the comics were, and if you look back, I mean, it was a golden era. I mean, look at all the stuff they were doing with Astonishing X-Men. I mean, all that stuff, the Grant Morrison on X-Men. I mean, all new Avengers, and then, but then the quirky things like Unstable Molecules and these cool books, they had Dean Haspel did The Thing. I mean, they were trying different things, like you were just saying.
All read on
X-Force.
Yeah.
Just fun stuff. Okay.
The Max line, was the Max line before the Knights or just after?
It was after. It was just after.
Just after.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Now I loved the Max line. The Max line was a total adult, like
the
writing was great. Garth Ennis was, and they just completely abandoned it at some point
until now, where they've kind of
selling.
They're kind of playing off that again now, right? The whole Max.
Well, they are, but
the Midnight series has got me.
But it's with. I mean, first off, it is a lot harder to break through with anything now because of the world we live in and the plethora of information we have coming at us. But the other thing is just, the Ike factor. Ike was very cheap, and Ike didn't allow backstock. And I've heard a lot of reasons for this. Like he's a miser, but he also has a very kind heart with other things. Very complicated person. I'll say that, Ike Perlmutter. But he did not allow reprints. He did not allow them to keep a backstock. So they were not allowed, like literally, because and this is one interpretation that I've heard, was that because he got his start as a liquidator and he saw the abandoned things, so he never wanted to have too many things sitting around, right? But Marvel just never, their reprint program, their trade program is atrocious, right?
Yeah.
Their trade is really atrocious. 1,000%. There's so much stuff out of print when people go, if they get excited about a character or anything, they're like, "Oh, I want to read everything." You're like, "Good luck."
Well, you think they
You'll
would see
pay
what's
5
going
times the
on?
price on eBay.
You think they would see what's going on with like DC and the compact stuff and the manga world of manga, and we're seeing this big, huge, influx of things like Dungeon Crawler Carl, which is coming kind of from that manga world. And let's be honest, I feel like almost Absolute Batman is kind of a little bit from that world.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Totally.
And it's that whole storyline being, together. And I know people have said that Marvel has been trying to do something similar to the DC compact thing, but I don't hear too much about it. Emmett, are they doing anything for that?
There has been a handful, and they're not even like stuff that would like fly off the shelf. Like Civil War compact, I could sell 10 of those a week. People, they just did the facsimiles of Civil War, and I don't bring in facsimiles. I just don't like them. But if they're ordered, then my customer wants it, so I bring them to my customer. I sold 5 of each issue that were ordered because I wasn't going to order them. So people wanted to read the Civil War, but not pay the eBay price. And they, in a compact, oh my God, it would fly off the shelves.
Yeah.
Well, the thing is that they've been licensing out their classics, right? Like they licensed out their kids line to Scholastic. And guess what? We used to have the Brian Hibbs analysis of the book scan charts, RIP. And 1 year the best-selling Marvel graphic novel was published by Scholastic. It was a Black Panther published by
I'm a Scholastic Stealer. Yeah, I'm a Scholastic Stealer, and still their top sellers are not Marvel or DC. DC is also, you can get DC, Marvel, both Scholastics.
But I mean, it was also, they were selling better than Marvel's books is the whole point, in bookstores.
They want to get into the book. They want to be in the book market so bad. It's so much more profitable for them.
Well, guess what? The number one thing you need is a backstock if you're going to be in the book market. That's literally the most important thing for any publisher because you have a hit and then you just print more and you just keep selling them, And so I think that thing was a holdover of the Ike years, right? I think and even after Ike was gone because Kevin Feige got rid of him, because Kevin hated Ike, right? They, sometimes it's just like the Stockholm syndrome, it's like you've been living like this for so long, you don't know how to change your
live any other way, right?
Yeah, I think that's a great point because I feel like that's been Marvel for a long time now. And it feels like they kind of had something going with the whole bringing back the Ultimate stuff with Ultimate Spider-Man. And they kind of didn't see, in my opinion, they didn't see that. With that
the relaunch of Ultimates took off.
Yeah.
Sales, and I'm a microcosm because I'm a small market area, but for me, selling 10 issues of anything is crazy.
I mean, Emmett, you're the retailer. I mean, if you could say, here's the book I want from Marvel with some creators attached. I mean, what would you want to see?
I would want to see when they're doing movies, stuff that has synergy with the movies. They don't have to be the movie stories, but they should have some type of synergy. And I would like to see creatives that are willing to take them in a direction and allow them to go in a direction. Right? So DC, I think that the Tom King Batman was pretty much a failure, but they let him have 75 issues.
That's a long failure.
Yeah. It wasn't in the beginning. A lot of people were excited. People liked Tom King. But, when they didn't allow the wedding to happen, and I think that was a DC choice and not a Tom King choice, the whole book kind of fell apart.
I feel like
that whole first 50 issues were running into that.
I feel like Marvel doesn't have the creator branding that DC has right now. You know what I mean?
They had a really they had a really good writer that they kept giving crap jobs to, and then they exited them. David Pepos. He wrote Savage
He writes
Avengers, and
he
then
likes
he
Space
writes
Ghost right now, which is
Space
excellent.
Ghost now.
Yeah.
But they gave him the shit Punisher job, right? And he performed. That was a really well written book. You know, character probably Marvel's going to throw away, but they wanted some kind of see if they could move Punisher in a different way. And, you know, he did that and how to get rewarded. They got rid of him. And they constantly are doing this. And then they keep going back to, oh, let's bring Hickman back for the X-Men again.
I think that's the most important thing. I think they need, again, I'm going to give a shout out to Rob here. They need to fix X-Men. If you're going to fix Marvel, you have to fix X-Men.
Well, I think you got to ask yourself, why did they give the X-Men to Tom Brevoort when he didn't want the job?
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, there's some reason they did that, right?
Yeah.
And I mean, it's obvious it's not his thing. It's never been his thing. I mean, all respect to Tom Brevoort for being, he's a legend for real. He's done so many things. He's the keeper of the flame, but he never liked the X-Men.
Yeah.
Get it. I will go ahead. I have another little bit of a sagoo, as they say here. But anyway, yeah.
I just don't think they talent search outside of the people that CB meets at conventions.
Well, listen, that might be true. I will say CB brought in, everybody had their day. And one of the most important things is knowing when it's time to get off the stage. That's something I'm very cognizant of. So, once I'm rambling and I will be gone, I hope. But, because CB was a great talent scout. He brought in a lot of great people, but then, I don't know that he does anymore. Look, I want to point out, very important, like the creative side, absolutely. They need to freshen it up. They need to, and they don't pay good rates. That's the other thing. Like, because they need to not lose money.
Yep.
They haven't raised their rates, and the rates are so bad, everybody left, and they can't. The rumors going around is like, even good people they were giving horrible offers to. It's very bad. So I want to draw your attention to me, this is the key thing. I think this Winterbaum guy is going to be fine. He seems to understand that comics are a cool thing, and not going to destroy them the way Pam Lifford did at DC, right? But the other player in this is this David Abdo guy who, according to the Hollywood Reporter, Will Sagoo from Disney to serve as Marvel's general manager, comics and franchise. So this guy was running the Disney's music division for quite a while. I mean, he's a 20-year Disney veteran, no publishing experience whatsoever. But general manager is kind of the guy who comes in. I mean, it's a new title. I mean, newish. I mean, that's what they call them now. I think they used to have a different title, but they call him now a general manager.
Like baseball?
Yeah, right. Yeah, there you go. There's this Abdo guy in the middle, the one we don't know much about. But if you look at his LinkedIn page, it's all about the synergy, cutting, growing, developing, and then and relocating. Like, he relocated everybody under one roof. This is part of what it says about the guy. So he's an operations guy. He is a huge operations guy. He's obviously been brought in to he's the guy who's going to shake things up. Okay. And the current director of operations at Marvel is David Bogart, who's another person who's been there for 20 years. And he's, to me, I've heard mixed things about David. He's a lovely guy, but I know a lot of people think he has been keeping the rates low and doing all this stuff. So, this Abdo fella, he's the one who's going to come in and shake things up. And
I hope so.
Yes, yeah,
I truly hope so.
But he's not a creative. There was one person, nobody knows anything about him, by the way. Like, he's done like one interview where he's like, AI is great. And then, but he has almost no trail on the internet. And there was one guy who tweeted at me, but I don't know if it's true or not, but he just like, I worked with David and he is great. He really respects creatives. That's probably him, David Abdo. I don't know, but we don't know. We don't know anything about this guy. But what we do know, based on his LinkedIn page, is that he is an operations guy who is trusted by Disney to come in and get Marvel Comics running right.
And I hope
think
that
they've
happens.
been surviving on variants
Well, that's a great thing. I think that they've 100% been surviving on that. They've been surviving on
Yeah.
collectors rather than readers, for the most part. Collectors who don't want to mess up their run, collectors who are just collecting cover art. I really think that's been Marvel over the years, because the storylines for characters that feel like they're home runs of a characters. I bring this up all the time. Spider-Punk, to me, is such a great character, that it feels like an easy thing to do, to get somebody who knows that punk aesthetic, that maybe has some knows the history of it, and can play with that character, because to me that character is a hit. And they have a couple characters like that it just feels like they've really struck out with how they have writing them, and they continue to pay those writers. Now, I'm not saying those writers are terrible writers, but when they're writing that character, they haven't been great, and they just keep paying them because probably they're okay with getting paid what they're getting paid for.
Yeah.
And again, it goes to say you get what you pay for in this world, and you're gonna get what you pay for in this too.
Their Young Avengers feels like old men. Old men and women. They don't feel like kids.
Yeah.
They're not written like them. They don't dress like them. They don't have their angst. I mean, with the exception a little bit of the Patriot, where they've tried to give them made him have a drug addiction.
Yeah.
Listen, I give a lot of credit to Scott Snyder,
Big time.
really a lot of props to him, because, he's a man. I think Scott's got to be like late 40s, right?
Yep.
Yep.
And, we don't want to have the Steve Buscemi meme, right? Like, hey kids, I got something great here, but by God, he did it. He did it. A man in his pushing 50 did it. He made something that the kids love. How?
He's got a lot of young kids. Scott's got a lot of kids.
That's true. And Jim Lee has a lot of kids too.
But Scott's not afraid to talk to them and you really connect with what they're talking about, what they're doing in their lives, and moving that experience over.
I think you're right. I think you're absolutely right. And
I also think Scott doesn't want to beat down the fan base, right? Like, he looks at the fan base with much more respect than a lot of other people, if that makes sense. I didn't mean to interrupt you, Heidi, but
no, go ahead. Yeah.
I
think you're right, Brian. Yeah. And but they don't grow on trees, right? It's not everyone can do this. I mean, you wouldn't ask Tom Brevoort to do this, all respect to Tom, right?
Yeah.
And Marvel's got some problems, but I will say this. I actually, of all these companies, I feel the least concerns about Marvel, because it could be that DC survived like the worst possible kind of.
They were awful.
Pam.
They were worse. They were worse than Marvel is now.
But absolutely. But I mean, I'm just saying, they had someone in charge who just actively did everything she could to destroy the brand. She canceled Mad Magazine, right? The kids' comics all had to be unbranded. It was just weird what she was doing. It was, and it goes back to Ike, because when she was at Disney, she had this old thing with Ike, and she sued him for, so she had a whole, I don't know. I'm just looking at what I see. And so there could be a real, trail of tears there. Let's put it that way. But, and then this other guy they bought that general manager guy, right? Cherry. I don't even remember. I always get the wrong name but anyway, this Cherry, the third guy, and he was awful too. And so and then there was Jason Kylar, and there was the pandemic, and there was, AT&T, and then I went to the Zasla, just they've been through everything, and they've come through it. Now they have, it's like the movie. It's like you conquered all these problems, you get over the hill, and there's Warner Paramount. Yeah. So, but DC overcame those. And I don't think Marvel's going to be in the same position. I mean, yeah, is the MCU hot shit? No, it's not. But
It can be. It definitely can be. There's no
well,
doubt
it's never
about
going to
it.
be it's never going to be what it was.
No, but listen,
They have to rebuild the comic community.
I think when they bring in the X-Men, if Marvel, these new guys, when the X-Men start coming into this movie thing, they have to have the X-Men front and center and fix something with the X-Men, obviously.
The book has to be running well when
Yes.
the X-Men movie hits.
Yes. Yes. And we need to see some of those things like you're talking about, Emmett. Like, okay, if the X-Men are out, let's put out some old school X-Men storylines in bookstores
Trades.
under this new compact idea or whatever. Let's figure out a way to get more promotion with comics at the movie theaters. Like, you see everybody going crazy for these buckets, these popcorn buckets, which is great. But let's put a freaking spinner rack in the movie theater. Why not? Let's put some of those books in.
Well, this has been thought. Listen, I've been in a lot of meetings. They're always like, why can't we get comics in the PX? That was the whole thing, right? Why can't we get comics at a spinner rack in the movie theater? People go to the movie theater. They don't want to buy a small item that's going to get lost, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so there's a lot of reasons why they don't do that. But that said, Alamo Drafthouse. You go there. There's the one here in Brooklyn. There's a little bookshop there, and they
love
sell
the Alamo Drafthouse,
right, and they sell books movie books by Art of Jock and all that, right? So
Todd used to do events at the Alamo Drafthouse out here all the time, and they were packed consistently, So
right.
those
So,
are the type of
right.
things that you should do.
Yeah, there's a big crossover. And, back just to the movie thing, remember way back in the day, it was when Dark Knight was coming out, and DC put out that Joker graphic novel by Lieber Mayhew.
Yeah.
Right? And that was a good book. And it sold quite a
Huge.
few copies. Had nothing to do with the movie, but it was, this Joker seems amusing.
Yeah.
What
Yeah.
shall I read?
Yeah.
What shall I read next? It's speaking of the Joker. Perfect timing.
So here's the deal. Don't do 30 hours straight at the store. Drink a monster drink and a pack of these fudge cookies, and
Can
then
make you
go lay
sick.
down and say, "Oh, I'm going to sleep for 5 minutes and make it on time for the show."
Well, you made it on time for Heidi, so that's the good thing.
Yeah, you came for a overlap here, but
There you
let me
go.
ask you guys, because I have talked to Jesse about this a little bit, but I mean, all this Marvel stuff happened. We were just talking about. Let's go back 4 weeks. What about David Gabriel? Like, I'm shocked.
Yeah.
Like David Gabriel. Like, this was huge. Like, he was running Marvel's retail for 20 years, and then he left, and people are like, yeah.
No, Heidi, you know what I think it was? I think it was the sign to tell us, like, seriously, Marvel has a problem. I feel like that was the sign where if they really do care about the publishing division and the retailers and the comic industry and this and that, like, losing David Gabriel and it was a big sign that kind of made me go, maybe they don't care. Because all I hear about is how great David Gabriel was, especially to retailers, he was. Everybody talks about how great he was, including people who like hate everybody. You know what I mean? And I hear them talk about how great David was. So it was a very telling thing to me that made me go, okay, maybe Marvel it can't be saved.
Yeah, I think when this happens in a big company, what they're doing is what they're saying is, we got this one guy, he knows a good portion of the guys and the gals in the comic book industry. So he has this connection. So for us to get anything done, we have to eliminate that connection and start fresh. And that's what happens in corporate retail, right? You got a store manager who has 47 managers who love that store manager, but I got to fire that store manager. So now I got to deal with all this stuff. So at the end of the day, I think it's cleaning of house so that they can start fresh with no favors to anybody. And is that a good thing? Is that a bad thing? We'll find out over the next 6 months. But that's tradition what happens. So that means the tea leaves are changing.
Well, a lot of people really trusted him even when Marvel's decisions were terrible. So that was a
Yeah,
big
but they were
part.
David's decisions.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
true. That's true. But again,
Because that
that there is that thing to be said about having a connection with all the retailers out there. Now, again, here's the other crazy thing, and we talk about this all the time, Heidi. I feel like the retailer game has changed so much, and maybe that's something that we need to admit, that maybe David Gabriel isn't there anymore because the retailer landscape has changed so much. We've changed to where we're losing. It feels like I know we hear things where it says, oh, there's 80 new stores that are out but how many have we lost in that time period as well?
Right.
And you get this
Well,
big
didn't we
change.
see the numbers? Somebody put out the numbers. A lot of people dispute whether they're right, but 330 new stores and we lost 65. That's what the numbers were that I heard last.
where were those from?
That was on last week's show.
It was a couple nights ago. I forgot the name of the company that did the research on it, which is kind of challenging because if a store, like for instance, a store is opening up in town and they're 90% records, but they want to carry new issues. Well, so you're then count that as a comic book store ad when the guy might only be ordering $50 a month?
Well,
and there's a lot of gaming stores that are adding comics.
Well, Diamond always
Universal
said accounts, right? Diamond would always give their statistics.
Right.
They always called them accounts. And because of that, you can't say, oh, this is a giant store that carries quarter Maltese. So it was just like, oh, it's an account. And so I think it was, as I like to say, it was a metric.
Right.
And I mean, I think there was I actually asked Christina Merkler at Lunar a few times, how's your customer count? And then, because, the Lunar sometimes does statistics a little bit at their little bruncheons or luncheons, whatever, they do the breakfasts and stuff.
Yeah.
And, she was like, oh, it's up 10% or so, some number. But, this is, you guys have talked about it. I talk about it all the time. We need better numbers. We need more statistics. So that, people who dispute that, there was also just this number that the number of independent bookstores is way up. Bookstores are doing great. There's no problem.
Barnes and Noble is expanding 60 new stores this year, first time in 10 years.
That's wild.
Yeah.
So, there's
and they're going to be carrying graphic novels. So they may not carry new issues, but they do carry comics, not floppies, traditional floppies, but
yeah. So there's no problem with bookstores. That's just indisputable. Is it going to last? We're all nervous Nellies. So, but for right now, it's fine. But what's the next danger?
Yeah. Yeah.
We haven't even talked about Boom. That was the other one.
Right.
Yeah.
But
well,
I don't
let's
even
talk
know what to
about
say.
Boom. Let's talk about Boom because it's
Penguin
very
bought
interesting.
them. Is there new news?
No, I think they were absorbed into Random House Worlds, right?
Yeah,
Which was the parent imprint. And then, they announced, oh, Josh Hayes is going to be doing this. And, he'll be over Inklore too. And, they didn't mention the editorial staff, which to me, they laid off one editor. But to me, that was interesting because they're like, oh, well, it sounds like they're happy with the editing. They're just, doing the business side. But then they announced that the publisher was leaving, Michael Kelly.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure he was much of an impact player, to be honest. I just don't think Boom's had any impact since they were purchased by Random House. And now is that because Random House doesn't allow it? I don't know.
I think the impact that Boom has had is definitely James Tynan, right? That's the impact. Everything that guy touches right now seems to be gold, and something is killing the children right now is what Boom is kind of like. That's what
Sick
is.
tick.
Yeah, sick tick. Yep, and all the
When they
stuff.
publish it, when they publish it,
Yeah.
but
Well,
it's always on hiatus.
it's not on hiatus
I
right
went
now.
from, no, it's not. It's coming out, but I went from 10 people subscribing to it to 0. When they went on 6-month hiatus, people found other books, and did not come back when it came back. Now,
Mm.
just so that I have back stock of it, because when the movie hits, people will be, if the movie ever hits, people will be digging for the back issues. But otherwise, I would get zero.
Right. Yeah, I
And this
think
has happened to Rook. This has happened to all the books at Ghost Machine from Image. They have all.
Well, that's the
seriously
death
harmed
knell in
themselves with-
comics. You know, Saga. It happened with Saga. When you have those long,
Yeah.
there's those famous, those famous series that we all know that had those lengthy breaks that just kill them. And it's so hard to come back from that.
What's the longest break of Amazing Spider-Man, of Superman, of Batman?
Great point.
None.
Yeah.
How do they not understand this? Like, it's simple. You're looking at the formula, and they're like, "Oh, we're going to disrupt this world."
Well, I think
Well,
it's
the
maybe the
idea-
mindset of like there's certain publishers out there that are more creator based, creator oriented, and more
Right.
IP oriented, right?
and independent customers, I know this doesn't sound weird, will wait longer for a book than a Marvel DC customer. They are trained every week. I think if you said, "Oh, Monstrous is great and awesome. Oh, it's going to come out every 7 weeks," I think independent collectors are fine with that. But when it does come down to the big two, the big two, the most, they are trained every week. Oh my gosh, this is the cycle I'm in. So I'm going to get Amazing Spider-Man this week, Thor the next week, Wolverine, and it's just this rotation.
I think 7 weeks is fine. I think a month off is skip a month. You know, Marvel or DC throws an annual in by two different, why don't you do that? It's your property. Hire a writer and an artist and have them do a book as an annual so that it doesn't go off the rails. Like, are you so afraid? It's your property. Are you so afraid that this guy's going to write it so much better than you that nobody will want you to come back?
Yeah, but you know what? The readers wouldn't accept a issue of Saga written by somebody else, unless it was like Alan Moore.
That's a whole different. Yeah, that's a whole different animal.
Yeah.
Saga's a whole different animal.
Right,
I think
but-
Sick Tick could be written by about 30 different writers. It's a fun book, but it's not an opus.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's a different economy, it's just a totally different economy. And I know in the case of at least one of the books that you talked about, there was a child involved, somebody went off and had a kid, and like
So
that's
hire somebody.
well, I don't.
Even if people go,
I
I
think-
don't like it as much.
Some creators don't want that. Some
I-
creators are
I-
like, I don't want anybody else writing my book.
And I think at the end of the day, when you have the saga, the collected editions all sitting out on a shelf, you're going to see they're all drawn by Brian and Fiona. And I think that is going to be the strength of the series,
That's for Saga, but I do think some of these other books, which
Well,
have been popular,
Yes.
don't hold that same sway. I mean, look at Spawn. Todd hasn't written all the Spawns. In fact, they do much better when somebody else writes them.
Yeah.
Woo.
No, that's a great point.
He
That's a
should
great
know
point.
that. He should know that.
That
not
is
wrong.
people know that. Yeah. I mean, I don't think Todd would be angry at that. I mean, I hope he wouldn't.
And to be fair to your point, Emmett, Sick Tick spin-offs have been written by other people.
Yeah. So I mean,
So it's not purely a
and they
tiny joint.
haven't done as well.
I want to bring
mean-
up I want to segue, as we say, to a kind of a touchy subject, but it's been something that you've written about lately, and that is gatekeeping in comics as of late. And we've talked about it on the channel quite a bit. It feels like that is something that's kind of reared its ugly head in our way lately. Multiple times throughout the shows on the channel, the term gatekeeping comes up, and but I would love to hear your thoughts on, because we obviously we kind of have different views on things, and I'm not saying from in a social aspect, I'm talking about from an industry angle.
Well, I mean, I mean, there was that Reddit post, and I did a little research to try to find out if this was a real person, and it did fit my, I mean, I didn't do a deep background check, but it seemed at least that this is a real person. And also, when I posted it on the Beat Slack, all of half the people are like, oh yeah, that happened to me. And I mean, so it's, whether that exact thing happened exactly as written, it is emblematic of something that actually happens, which is, women being tested or being called fake fans or whatever. And, which I think one of my favorite things that I wrote in there was that, there's all these YouTubers who are like, comics are dying, and then once a new reader shows up, you're giving them a quiz.
Yeah.
Right. So,
Yeah.
entry quiz, what is this? What is your favorite color? What is the speed of an African swallow?
Yeah.
You know? So
I've been reading
all-
comics since I was 7, so almost 50 years. I couldn't tell you like 90% of the stuff that some of my customers come in and know about comics. And they would, if they quizzed me, I'd fail.
Well,
yeah,
the interesting thing that I'll say though is that we always talk about women in comics and how we need it. It needs to be there. It's something that's very important. I just talked
more
to
than
somebody
50% of the
today.
population.
I just talked to somebody today, and I feel like I'm talking at least once a month about, some woman creator or woman retailer that is being taken advantage of in some way. And I'm not talking about like sexually. I'm talking about financially. There's a lot of creators out there that feel like they're pushed around in a major way in this industry, and there's no doubt about it. But at the same time, I also look at some of my analytics, and I see, my analytics go from women viewers 1% to 21% now. I hear from Jesse saying that his store, what he's seeing in his store is more women buyers than normal, if not more than his male buyers. I mean, I don't know, Jesse. What are your thoughts lately on?
Yeah, what's funny? Today happened. I was helping 2 ladies at the counter. 3 ladies came in, and there was a guy in the corner, and I completely forgot the guy was in the store. And so by the time he came up, it was like 9-1. Now, I don't care because I'm just selling product. But the first thing he said is, wow, that's a lot of lady customers. How do you do that? I go, we just sell product. We don't distinguish between the difference. And I think that's the biggest thing, is if you just sell product, you're fine. Now, granted, I retired from Nordstrom, which are selling only to technically women. So I'm used to it. But I think what we want to do is we want to have retail stores that are open to anybody without question. But we also live in a social world where everything is equal anyways, right? So if we have 10 people in a post, 5 are women, 5 are guys, who cares if it's 9-1? And once you get to that point in this industry, it's very, very very easy. So we don't have to use percentages anymore, because I don't think those are as important now.
I think so. And, let me just say, I mean, having gone through a battle, for much of my adult life, the best years of my life were spent, trying to tell people that women will read comics. And, I don't think it's even well, a girl came into the store. How amazing. How notable. It's not even like that. It's just like, these are books, guys read books too. Did you know that? Like, like they do, they go to bookstores. I've seen them there. And so, yeah, it's not even, I mean, it's just been proven over and over and over again that there are, girls are fans. I mean, they're more passionate fans than guys are sometimes about certain things. So it's not even an issue. Now, that said, certain genres have different audiences, period. I mean, that's fine. Have different audiences, have different things for different people. That's a healthy market. That's healthy. Back when I was doing Friends of Lulu, which is back in the 90s, trying to get, an advocacy for the youngsters out there, was an advocacy group trying to get more women in comics as readers, as readers, as creators, and as characters. And, we did like kind of discussions, roundtables, we'd have meetings, and it really, women love to shop. I will say that okay, women love to shop at Nordstrom. They have to put the men's clothes, where they can get at them, because men don't like to shop, right? To go buy clothes. And so, the fact that we have lots of data, we have lots of surveys that show comic shops in the 80s and 90s had 5% women customers. I said, you have gone out of your way to create an environment where women don't want to do the one thing they really enjoy doing, which is shopping.
Yep.
So, it wasn't an innocent thing. It was a gatekeeping. It was deliberate. It was very, it was a program, a very effective program, and thank God it ended. So, but I mean, I think, let me ask you guys though, as retailers, in this one anecdote, it wasn't, this part wasn't clear. I probably should ask, but it sounded like it was a fellow customer who came up to this woman and started quizzing her about her, Steve Rogers. And you don't know that. I mean, you're behind the cash register. You don't know if one of your customers is being an ass, right? I mean, is this something that, is there anything that you could do as owners to kind of create a more welcoming environment,
Yeah, so I actually had a consultant come through. He actually became a friend of the shop. He shopped in the shop, and he was like, would you like a free, he goes, I really love your shop, but he goes, I see some things would you like? And I'm a guy that, like, I'm open. Just, I'm not going to my feelings aren't going to get hurt. I don't know everything. I want to know new stuff. So we had a couple of horror, like really disgusting horror figures that we had near the front door, and you saw them right when you came in. And he was like, move them somewhere else. Like, he says it's bad for kids and it's bad for women. And then the other thing was, he says, your bathroom is okay. It's fine. He says, but it's really old, outdated. And, if you remodeled your bathroom, he goes, I think that would really help women stay in your store, because it's a public bathroom. You let people use it, you keep it clean and remodel it. He goes, I think, women will. And I now have 25% of my customers are women. I remodeled the bathroom, repainted the walls. It's some little things, men don't care. Men don't piss outside. They don't care. But like women do. And it's fine that they do. I talk about comics with everybody who buys comics. I don't go, well, I better not ask her what she likes. No, I want to know what the women like, what they're connecting to in the comics, so that I can recommend to other women by asking them if they connect to the same type of stuff. I can say, well, a lot of my women customers like this book or that book. I mean, Saga has been the easiest when it was regularly selling. Handing Saga to a woman or just giving them the synopsis. I mean, it's a great book for everyone. I love it. It's one of my favorite books, but it is a book that women can really connect with, I think. There's very powerful female character on it.
Yeah, I think in my case, where my business is almost, this is going to be crazy, Heidi, when you hear this, but about 70% of my business is women. Customers base. So we use, number one, we're never behind the counter, and we engage within 3 feet, and it's kind of a wave. We don't really say, hey, what can I help you with? It's kind of a wave, entertainment in the store, descriptions, but that's with everybody. But I think when you create an environment that is open, the benefit of having a women base, especially in my case, is they're coming in 3 to 5 person each, right? They like to come in groups. Oh, this is our group from college, and we're learning to do XYZ. So they're engaging themselves and experiencing themselves in a freedom zone where they don't have to worry about anything, and it's inviting. So I think at the end of the day, I don't think in my case anything changes. Whether it was 3% or 70%, we created an open environment that creates a great experience for people to experience themselves, and then if they want to be helped.
Do you think? I mean, well, just real fast, but also you have great products for everybody. You have a very diverse array of books, graphic novels, comics that appeal to a lot of different audiences. Anyway, I'm sorry, Brian.
Do you how much of manga, its popularity, because I feel like manga is the thing that's really brought in a lot of these women buyers into these shops, and that's something that people bring up a lot. And people in the chat are saying that they feel like most women aren't going to be into American comics more than they're into manga. And I don't know, what is your thoughts on that?
I mean, you see some people just can't give it up, right? They just can't give up the idea that women can read and enjoy superheroes, right? And they can. Like they love, Milton. By the way, props to having Milton on. I watched that. I talked to Milton. I love the guy. And I was like, no one's ever interviewed Milton before. Like he's so intelligent and informative. I thought he was such a great guest on here. So I really enjoyed that you had him on. But he did come out and he said, he did a statistics like, oh, Absolute's doing great. And mostly driven by boys. And boy, he got so much pushback on that. And a lot, some of it was from women who own comic shops,
Yes.
saying a lot of women dig Batman. Chicks dig the car. I mean, this is a very popular character. Yes, he has a strong base, among young men, but Absolute Batman definitely is hitting with the ladies, and Absolute Wonder Woman. I mean, all the Absolute line has very equal appeal. So he got some pushback on that. I think he might have had a data point that wasn't as
current, like the last 10 years.
Well, I'll tell you what's
well,
something.
yeah.
I'll tell you that's something that's very interesting to me and very evident, because obviously, this channel was built on the secondary market and keeping an eye on the secondary market price spikes on these characters and these books. And we are seeing a huge secondary market price spikes on, like the what I call beefcake covers, the sweater weather covers with Batman and Superman, all the Nightwing stuff. A lot of like Dan Mora and Yasmin Putri covers are getting these big, huge bumps, and they're holding this value. They're non-ratio variants. They're not as rare as some of the books that get these huge price spikes. And it's very surprising to see, a C cover that's an open order variant sell for $400 on the secondary market raw as a beefcake cover, which is not normal in comic books.
It is now.
It is now. You're right.
But that's not who comes into my shop and buys them.
Right.
It's not women.
Well, I understand that too, but I feel like some of it has to be women. I don't think it's all gay men.
Okay.
Well, it could be. It could have a strong.
It's a mix. I'm sure it's a mix.
But you know what? They appeal to two different demographics.
Yeah.
I don't know if women are ponying up $400 for a
well, they might not do that. That part I agree with.
Lord Brooklyn has a question. He says, could you please tell me the metrics around Shuri and Ironheart and their sales compared to the T'Challa and Tony Stark series they replaced? Was there an increase in sales or decrease? And I don't know the answer to that, but I'll tell you this. Those characters were very popular before they showed up and got ruined in the MCU. So there was a lot of love for those young female characters of Shuri and Ironheart and Spider-Gwen. Before the MCU, it feels like to me the MCU ruined them by putting out bad storylines and such. So I don't know.
I mean, they didn't ruin Miles Morales, They did the
his
greatest
storyline was great.
Yeah, but I mean, they did an incredible movie, one of the greatest superhero movies of all times, one of the greatest animated movies of all times. I don't read Marvel comics all the time. I try to at least be aware of what's going on, but I'm not a weekly reader nor a monthly reader, but I do play Marvel Strike Force. And, that's where I'm like, who is this character?
Yeah, I hear that a
never
lot.
heard of them.
Yeah.
But I learn about them. But, I'll tell you, I mean, Ironheart and America Chavez and all of them, they just introduced Moon Girl, Lunetta in there. And,
who's the other character from Spider-Verse? The one with the tank, the battle tank.
Penny Parker.
Penny Parker, yeah.
Penny Parker, yeah. Created by Gerard Way.
So there's all these, and you brought up the gaming, like we see Marvel Rivals, which you have a huge influx of new girls and new readers, young readers coming from that. This whole gatekeeping thing is very interesting to me to talk about and to key in on. But
Oh, go on.
I feel like that there is areas to say like it's not happening, and I feel like Marvel, one thing they have been doing well is their video game stuff, right? That's one of the only things I feel like they've been doing well, and that type of entertainment. And you see this this influx of female fans of
Daredevil
these
and
games.
Punisher were really good.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
we'll
Like-
see what happens when they do bring out those X-Men movies, because obviously X-Men is how I got into superhero comics way back in the
Right.
day, and it's always, 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 always. No one ever denied that X-Men had a big female following. That
Yeah.
was just like that was, oh, well, it's an exception. But listen, gatekeeping I think the thing that's just unfortunate is gatekeeping happens. It just as a woman in the world, I can just tell you it just happens. All the time, even to me. I have guys telling me what I don't know, and I'm like, I walk away. I don't engage. I just can't take it. But
Well, I think one of the things in business
blame
is
ya.
generational is not an excuse anymore. We used to say, "Oh, because of generation, we're
yeah,
gonna
good
this way."
point. Good
Yeah,
point.
exactly. But that's not an excuse anymore. I did a show with Heidi, like Heidi's not even gonna remember this, but about 12 years ago, 10 years ago, it was me, you, Hibbs, Bull, and someone else. I can't remember who the fifth person was. And it was kind of like I was the youngin on that page because I'd only been in and I'm like, how did I get stuck in this interview, right? And but what you learn is you got to grow and you got to pivot. And you can't say, well, generational, this is how it's happened in the comic book world for 70 years and we have to stick this way. No, we need to do what's great for the customer base and sell more books.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, guys, I got to jump off because I'm on deadline. I want to say there was so much else that, I'd be delighted to come back because I really enjoy hearing what you guys have to say. I'm trying to get more into the whole world of secondary market and the collectability because I see it's a huge thing. And I'll just throw this in here. Just next time we should talk about this, but I just went to Fan Expo this weekend in Philadelphia, and that's really the first time I ever went to a Fan Expo show. And I had a lot of reasons. I was going with a friend and blah blah, but the economy at this show, New York Comic Con, San Diego, they're the mega shows, they're the
Yeah.
super shows. They do not represent the real world in any way, right? But I mean, just the things, talking to people in Artist Alley, and everybody's charging for signatures now, and comic creators. I'm like, wow. And then the people aren't like $5. They're just like, okay. I'm like, what? When
And
did
it's not
this
just $5; it's $35.
No, it's 10.
Yeah.
No, it's $25, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, there's that, this whole part of the economy, and I there's just, there's so much. I guess you do need 3 hours.
You do, and we're gonna have you back. Hey, listen, I'd love to have you on at least the beginning of every month, Heidi. I can't thank you enough for what you do and your part in this industry. And we love you over here. So keep it up.
Thank you, guys. It's fun talking to you guys and hearing the other side of it, or an other side of it. I really enjoyed this. So yeah, I'll be back for sure.
Thanks, Heidi. Love you. We'll talk to you soon.
Take care, Heidi.
Bye.
Yep.
Bye.
Yep.
She's one of the best, man. She
Yeah.
is one of the best. So I feel like that was a really good conversation. We didn't even get to really get into the whole the DC boycott that's been happening over the past couple days.
You mean that ended?
That ended, yeah. And like, to
They
me
started it 2 days ago.
Yeah, to me the whole thing is like, should comics be published because they will fill a representation goal, or because retailers and readers will support them long term? Like, which is like, do you have to have a line? Can it be both? Like, there's this conversation that can be had,
Right?
like you're talking about Jesse, where you said, back in the day it used to fill a representation goal. Now it feels like I would put more weight on the story just being good before you worry about filling a representation goal.
Yeah, I think what's happened the last couple of years, just in the ideology of most companies now, is why can't you do both? So if you have one angle and then you have another angle and you approach the president's always going to say to you, but why can't we do both? Why do we have to separate? But in a retail world that is surrounded by every week is a new week in the comic book world. Every Wednesday, Beyond Wednesday is what we call it. It's a new cycle. And so I think what happens is it's what sticks in the news the longest is successful. In the social world, a lot of things you hit, get an impact, and then it goes away. And I think that's kind of where we might be going right now, is back to how do we get good stories, good art, get more artist jobs. And I think that's going to be the more important thing out of this.
I think that they started talking about this, you know, how many days there was without a black character, and it got a lot of traction. And people got a lot of subs, and
Social
they were getting a
media,
lot of clicks and a lot of views.
Right.
Yeah.
And it went from 2 guys to 20 guys to guys and girls and it was everywhere then. And we all saw it coming to a head, and they were like, oh, we're going to call for a boycott. Okay. You know, boycotting something takes an awful lot of heart.
Well,
You really have to stick to it.
and
'Cause
there was a lot of
if you're gonna
infighting
boycott-
too. They were
Right. If
fighting
you're
in
gonna
between
boycott-
themselves.
Right.
Yeah.
If you're going to boycott, you know, it's the characters, right? It's DC, it's Warner Brothers. You can't go to the movies. You can't buy T-shirts or hats or lunch boxes, or, you know, that's a real boycott. Like they won't feel it if you stop buying comics.
So for those of
there's
you
not
guys
enough
that
people buying comics as it is.
Yeah, for those of you guys that don't know what we're talking about, there was this hashtag DC Blackout campaign that was organized by the Black Comics Alliance, and the original boycott was launched because DC has no current ongoing series starring a black character in its primary continuity, which it feels like they're like adding all these things to it, because we can all sit here and talk about, you know, Absolute Green Lantern, you know, you could talk about a lot of these characters in DC continuity that are African American black characters, and there's a lot of creators as well, that it felt like they were adding these like extras to it. Like, it's got to be in current continuity, it's got to be the primary character, it's got to be like, there was all these little things added to it that didn't make it make sense
And
to a
the
lot
John
of people.
Stewart run on Green Lantern War Journal, or
Yes.
yeah, I think it was War Journal, just ended like 6 months ago,
Yeah.
right? So did it end because it was the most successful book in the line? No. Like, you know, I have a very diverse group of customers, men, women of all different colors and
Right.
creeds, and they like what they like,
Mm-hmm.
right? I think I don't know how that whole 1,200 and some odd days, there's no way that Green Lantern War Journal wasn't during that time, because 1,200 days is 3 years, right? So there's that book just ended. Maybe
Well, there was also that
middle or
big
end of
static
next year,
book,
last year.
right? What was that big static book that just came out?
it was a single issue.
Yeah.
It was
Yeah.
the DC history.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
it was a
that-
great book. It sold out, got second print. So they
Yeah.
pushed hard for that. And then the Batman Static book did well.
Yeah.
I think Static should have his own book, but like the way company, like they decide on what books are going to get made, the books are decided for the year. If you pitch a book at DC, right, they ask you as a writer, could you pitch a book? You probably won't write that until next year sometime, if they accept it.
Right.
Because it's got to get into the schedule, and they have to get everybody, and they want to get 3 issues done before they put it out and it'd be late right off the bat. And so there's a lot of things in the mechanism that, okay, you boycott tomorrow, and they go, okay, we're going to put a character in. You'll see them next year.
Yeah, I don't think there's any demographic charting at DC saying, oh my gosh, here's the chart for this, where we are percentage wise. And I don't think that will ever happen. I think it's going to give us an opportunity to bring a great character out with a great story with a great team.
Mr. Terrific.
And yeah, Mr. Terrific. And then I think that's how it works going forward. But you know what? It is what it is. It's a news cycle. And we
that's a great point. That's a great point, Jesse. Yep. And here's the thing, like, even though it only lasted a few days, it brought up the discussion. And ultimately, I think that could be the way to look at it. As you know, was it successful? Was it not? Well, it's got us talking about it. That's for sure.
Right. Yeah. And I think some creators out there, without saying any names, have learned, you know what, if this isn't in your preview, if this isn't in your path of creating your next comic, you don't have to get involved in every conversation. And I think we saw a lot of people that didn't have to be in this conversation, that got themselves in trouble by saying the wrong things. And that's what happens.
If DC responded to this in any type of way and said, okay, we're gonna put one of these characters at the front, like, who should it be? I feel like Static is that character, but can Static push his own? Is good too. Who?
Mr. Terrific.
Oh yeah, Mr. Terrific could be the other character. He was my favorite person in the Superman movie by far.
Yep. Yeah.
So I just don't know if there is some type of thing that is going to make a difference in that statement. Like, DC is at the top of the game right now, which is, I'm glad they brought up DC and not Marvel, but I don't know. It's just very interesting. And again, it goes back to that whole idea of gatekeeping. We've been talking about gatekeeping quite a bit in the comics industry, not just with, this question that we're talking about right now, but also with Heidi's article that she talked about female representation, but also in the industry, where you have a lot of old school, let's talk about the retailer game. You've got this old school retailer game, which we're fighting the original gatekeepers, who I feel like have kind of become the gatekeepers in their own right and don't realize it. And I feel like that's always the kind of the thing that happens, like a lot of the old school retailers who felt like they were fighting against gatekeeping in the comics industry in the 80s and the late 70s. They could be doing a little gatekeeping right now because maybe they don't like the way the industry is going, and it's moving into these different worlds, and online retailers, live selling, all that type of stuff. There is a little bit of gatekeeping in that too.
Well, I mean, there's a thin line between stewardship and gatekeeping.
Great point.
Right. There's also a place for the guys who say, this is an ecosystem, and if you're going to shit upstream from me, there's going to be problems because you're ruining the water downstream.
Yeah, I believe that's true. I also believe that 10 years ago, the top social retailers out there were doing posts or articles that, okay, if I want to leave a comment, I leave the comment in the Comics Beat article, right? And it goes in the bottom and maybe someone answers it. Now you do a post on Facebook and all of a sudden you get thousands of thousands of things that are instant, that continue into another topic, that grow into another topic, and all of a sudden everything within the last 5 minutes has changed the whole topic. So that's kind of the difference between a Comics Beat article, a Bleeding Cool article, a ICV2 article, where it can become static almost immediately, where Facebook allows it, or Twitter or Instagram allows it to grow beyond what the original intention was to be.
Well, I will say this. I think one of the worst things that can come out of this whole boycott thing is throwing around the term racist. And there is nothing worse, in my opinion, when you start throwing around the term racist or homophobe or those type of things. And we're seeing that happen in a major way. And Rob Liefeld right now, has been like on the forefront of like saying,
Steward, yeah.
yeah, he is the steward of this. And it's like, now you instantly start saying, no, you're a racist. And it just like, it ruins your whole point. It ruins everything, you know? And big shout out to Rob. I've seen Rob really kind of fight against this lately because, and I know this firsthand, you guys know I've dealt with this in the past. Like, as soon as they have nothing else to say, the first thing that they're going to say is that you're racist or you're a homophobe or, you know, something like that. And I felt like that's what they did to Rob when Rob started calling out the, you know, the kind of bullshit that was going on. Immediately, it's like, oh, you're a racist. And Rob, not only Rob, but Rob's fans out there really hit back in a major way. And that was and that's, I'm bringing this up, Jesse, because of what you're talking about in the social media world now. You make a comment like this, and you're not just somebody hiding behind an avatar anymore. You know, a lot of these people they're going to find out who you are and, you know, call you out on your bullshit. It's a weird game to play in the world of the internet, and you have to be careful out there. You can't just be throwing around terms like this anymore.
Yeah.
Right. But I do think that, you know, sometimes people don't take into consideration that people feel a certain way, and we don't experience the world the same. None of us do. So when you tell people, well, there's plenty of representation, they don't feel that it's representation. It's kind of like, this is a thing about feelings and not about objectivity, right? It's subjective. So you can't, like, by telling them, you know, what you're doing is meaningless and it's not true, and, you know, but, you know, they can also then bring up, well, look at this, look at this, look at this, and then you know, then it's, some of it is, there's an ignorance to the feeling of people of color and creed and sexual, different sexual, the word escaped me, orientation. Thank you, sir. That feel a certain way, and there's no amount of your logic that can change that feeling. And it doesn't mean you're wrong or they're wrong. But the response is, when people don't respect other people's, the way they feel about it, is usually racist, homophobe, something like that. It's a defense mechanism.
Yeah, it's the good old, this is how I like to look at stuff.
Why does this guy always have a blue mark on his nose?
I don't know, but I want to play this real quick if I can. Let's
okay,
see
go ahead.
here.
Go ahead.
Why is it not? All right, here we go.
Blackout boycott. And if you're not familiar, myself, a bunch of other creators and fans are boycotting new DC titles in an effort to push for more black-led ongoings, more representation in comics. Whether or not you agree with the boycott, I don't really care. The reason this is so ridiculous to me is Rob Liefeld is someone who, you know, very famously left Marvel Comics with a bunch of other artists to start Image Comics because they wanted the credit that they felt like they weren't getting, the representation that they felt like they weren't getting, the money that they felt like they weren't getting. So he's someone who famously took a big gamble because he was fighting for what he felt he deserved, for, again, the credit, the representation, the money, whatever, right? And it's funny to me because not having an actual discussion, just throwing Rob Liefeld's a fraud.
Yeah, I mean, I
don't recall,
I don't agree with this guy at all.
Yeah, I don't recall any of the seven Image guys saying never buy a Marvel don't buy Marvel Comics. They said buy our Image Comics, but they never said let's boycott Marvel to their fans. So, you know, this is what my whole point was then be that in your new issue section, if you have it in alphabetical order, people bitch, right? Why can't I just look at all the Boom comics? This doesn't make sense to me. But then if you have it by publisher, then people say, well, how do I know what new issues are out from the other companies? Because they're not in alphabetical order. And I just grab what looks good because they're all in alphabetical order. Because I'm not going to look at the XYZ down at the end because I don't buy that publisher. So we're not going to win no matter what. And what you have to do is you have to push forward. Unfortunately, Rob has a big base, and his big base is kind of listen, his very exact words are, don't be a wussy if you're going to be in this room. So he doesn't back down when he's confronted.
Rob,
and it is what it is.
Rob is just like anybody else. Like, why does he have to not like but abide by some rules on social media? Like, you know what I mean? But here's something that I do want to say. There is something that I want to bring up about this whole thing. Is like I feel like we're kind of talking about this in a bad light, but one of the good lights that I want to talk about is I've never heard of this comic book store, and this comic book store blew me away. I have reached out to them to try and get them on the show at some point, and it was very interesting. And I've never heard of this. This is called Comics and Cuts, and this is a store in Fayetteville, Georgia, I believe.
Yeah,
maybe in Georgia, Atlanta.
It's in Georgia. Yeah,
and it's fascinating. It's a barbershop and a comic book store all at one in one. Comics and Cuts. Looks absolutely fascinating and very innovative, right? I don't know how many other stores are out there like this. Probably not many. But this is
there's a lot that have coffee shops in them, but I
yeah,
have not seen a hair place.
yeah. So like this is the type of things like I would love to put the spotlight on rather than the boycott. I'd rather put a spotlight on a business, a Black-owned business that is very surprising to me, that I've never seen, and that I'm like, okay, this is interesting to me.
We're standing in front of Georgia Cinemas, which is in Noonan, Regal Cinemas. So we're in front of Regal Cinemas here in Noonan, Georgia. This is where we will be holding our private screening of Spider-Man, A Brand New Day.
So they're doing cool, things for their community, which I think is really cool. If anybody knows Comics and Cuts, send a little birdie out to them that says we would love to hear from them on the Industry of Comics show, because I think this is a fascinating retailer and a very cool thing in the industry. So
yeah. Very, very good thing. IOC stands for Industry of Comics, DK. Just so you know, that's why I put IOC. That store is very social. They're very inviting, and I think that's very important to have a store that's very inviting even before you walk in.
Amen. Amen.
And there are a lot of independent Black comics, but they feel that the big two, and Marvel just Miles Morales. They can't say anything about that, whether the Miles Morales comic is successful or not. Marvel's just going to keep printing it. It'll stay an ongoing. It'll be the Spider-Man. They've rebooted it a couple of times to get that #1 bump CD, but it's going to stay ongoing.
So
I think DC is still trying to figure out their main line. Period.
There is one thing that I want to talk to you guys about that I found that was it was a story that we talked about on Drama Alert the other night, and that is this whole Lego thing that's going on with this franchise Lego store. There's these franchise Lego stores out there called Bricks and Minifigs. Have you guys heard about these?
Yeah, they stole these old people's figures.
This is fascinating. This has blown up to be one of the biggest topics on YouTube, on the internet, period. There's videos out there with multiple million views on this whole thing. There was a really good documentary style video that was done on it that caused some of the biggest YouTubers in the game to key in on this. It's crazy. Every different pocket of YouTube is talking about the collectible industry and this bricks and minifigs things. And if you haven't seen it, I'm going to go ahead and play this. This is a story from the ABC4 in Utah, and let's go ahead and show you guys this.
This story that we're going to begin with, Sarah, my goodness, it is blowing up the socials. We're getting emails about it, and wow, we have our journalist leading the coverage on this story. We got Abigail Jones with us here in the Stream Center. Abigail, hello.
Hello.
Okay, so let's set this up and correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah.
We have this company called Bricks and Minifigs. It's like a nerd store.
Lego resale.
Lego resale, but they have like figurines and things like that
Yeah.
too, right? Okay. There's allegations from a YouTuber that a company executive did something that wasn't cool.
Yes.
Right.
So it's against a franchise company executive, although Bricks and Minifigs like corporate has gotten involved since then in a lawsuit. But yeah, so the idea or the background here is that this man has alleged that this executive of this franchise location has essentially like stolen his and his father's Lego collection that he claims to be worth like $200,000.
Wow.
So basically, what's going on is there is this franchise store called Bricks and Minifigs where anybody can be a franchise and get a franchise of this store, and this franchise store bought a collection from a young man whose father passed away that had a collection worth over $200,000 of Star Wars Legos. And they took it to the store. The store ended up, corporate came in and took over the store from the franchisees and is basically refusing to pay out the original consignment deal and selling the said collection without paying the consignee. And it is huge. And it brings to the question, especially with retailers, is it safe to consign your product with a retailer or to have some type of deal with a retailer where you say, hey, maybe you bring in a collection to the retailer and the retailer says, hey, I'll give you $10,000 for this collection. I'll give you $2,000 right now and $1,000 every week for the next so many months. A lot of retailers do this over the collectibles industry. And this is shedding a bad light on it because now they're saying, hey, is this going to happen to me? You know what I mean? It's leaving a bad taste in a lot of collectibles' mouth. Real quick before you guys answer this, shout out to Rye who just dropped 2 super chats. He says, let me find this here. One, I'll be called racist for this, but if a title sells, the company will publish it. And then he says also with this Lego thing, I have 2 local Bricks and Minifigs, both owned by the same dude. Great place and great ownership. Now, again, this brings into the question, is the same guy that owns your stores, Rye, the same guy that owns the franchise, or the corporate stuff? I don't know how that all plays out, but I want to get back into the thing of, if you take your collection or you consign your stuff to a retailer, what is there to protect you in this thing? And I would love to hear your guys' thoughts on that.
Right. So this is not a new story. It's been happening for 80 years, 90 years, probably back to whenever the Civil War was, right? It's always been happening. I think only because it's very interested if I would want to see the structure of corporate for a franchise to take over the business. What was the reason for them taking over the business? And then what does the actual contract say? And so until you get that information, it's very hard to say, well, the guy did XYZ and the person who had the Legos who got it from his father because he passed away, this is what they agreed on. So you kind of have to put that in play. But I think at the end of the day, this happened so few times that I think this is just amplified right now. And again, we were talking about news cycle. I think, after a week, we'll go back to normal, right? But it does suck when this does happen because there's always a recourse at the end,
Yeah, it hurts. It hurts. I mean, anybody that buys collections, it hurts us. People become suspicious, especially when it gets, even though we have no affiliation with that company, it will make people suspicious. Yeah. That's why I always, I buy whole collections. I don't cherry pick, and I pay before I take possession of the entire collection.
Right. What happens what happens
if I break it up, I do not take any part of the last part of the collection until I make full payment.
Here's the big question, and because this is what happened in this, you had an ownership change and go on, right? And I think that's the big question. Like, if I consign my collection to a shop and ownership changes, what protects me? Because there was consignment agreements and inventory tracking and chain of custody on this stuff, and it still didn't help, it seems, which is crazy to me.
Well, I don't know about Jesse, but I don't take consignment. Consignment is so messy. You get to a certain number of people that you consign with, right? That bring in stuff, and then they're calling you every day. Did my stuff sell?
Yeah.
Did my stuff sell? Did my stuff sell? And then you're spending more time selling their items than selling your items. And then whatever you would make in your consignment fee, it's not enough.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
I don't do it.
Yeah, I think the person that they took over the store with is supposed to disclose all their consignments, XYZs, right? So this is one of those tough stories where you don't have any information other than a lady saying, well, the guy says his collection is worth $200,000. This notepad is worth $1,000. You know, prove me any different. So I think this is a story that there's not a lot of information out there, and you just got to do your due diligence, and you got to understand things happen in deals.
I watched a lot of that documentary, and they don't get into that at all.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right?
And
most of it is them trying to get the figures back.
Sorry, I think I misstated. I said it was in Utah. It's in Oregon. I apologize for that. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So we'll see. I think once more information comes out, if it goes to court, there'll be some discovery and all that stuff that we'll be able to read into this. But at this point, you know, Emmett says it hurts the industry. I don't think it hurts the industry. I think because there's a lot more good deals that go on than bad deals. Yeah.
But I think people will be a little gun shy. You'll have to, you know, if you're in your area, you've been doing it a long time.
Well,
you don't have a problem. But
here's the scary part of this is that what corporate is saying, which is the Bricks and Minifigs, they're the corporate. They're saying that that consignment wasn't allowed for their franchisees, right? That was where they were taking it, and supposedly that's kind of being fought over in court right now, and that former franchise personnel have publicly challenged that and produced documents that say, you know, consignment was permitted, which is very interesting. So that's another little key on this. And to me, it's the whole thing with corporate. Once you get like this corporate thing going and these you know, red tape and legal things, it just becomes such a fucking nightmare. It makes me go, maybe the collectibles industry isn't good for corporate franchises and stuff like that.
Boy, do they fucking want in on it.
Yes, they do.
That secondary market, the margins are too fucking good. Man.
Right.
Yep.
You know, you've seen variants for corporations before, but this was all on, they did it as an advertising thing. They didn't do it as a money-making thing. Like a GameStop variant at GameStop was cover price. It was to get people in to get a different variant. Once they figure out that, oh, wait a second, we can charge 3 times our cost and make more than 50% on a variant, what the fuck have we been doing?
Yeah.
They will be all over it, and they'll do it better, faster, cleaner.
Shout out to Rye with the $5 super chat. He says, that may be true. My local shops only offer cash or store credit. So there you go. That's interesting. Yeah. But, you know, like you said, Emmett, they want in. The amount of money that is, we've been talking about this for a while. We've been seeing, you know, the big golden auctions, heritage auctions, you know, Kevin O'Leary saying that, you know, don't buy stocks anymore, buy freaking Kobe cards and Jordan cards and Pokemon cards. And, you know,
look at GameStop. Look at their numbers for the first quarter of this year. It is freaking off the freaking charts. Freaking off the, it's not, you could not do a better job in retail than what they accomplished this quarter, this first quarter.
Well,
just amazing.
And look at JSA. It has to shut down cards coming in. So did Tag. I think CGC is still open, but
Well, I'll tell you the thing to me that is also very not surprising, but it's something to key in on this whole Lego story, is that it has gone nuclear and has gone viral, not because of a news channel or a TV show,
because of YouTube.
Because of a YouTuber. And Reckless Ben is the YouTuber that did this. The original story was many days ago, and he's been getting millions of views, right? 3.4 million views, 2.1 million views, 1.8 million views, 1.4 million views, 3 million views, 1 million views, all on this Lego story. And it's crazy. And he got arrested because of it, which is very interesting. I'm going to go ahead and share his channel for everybody out there. Actually, Music Pub might have already shared it, but just in case, I'm going to share it again.
Yeah, he already shared it.
Yeah, this is the channel to go do a deep dive on it. Shout out to my boy Chuck who told me about this, because he's fallen into the Lego collecting hole.
And I think I think the one thing people have to understand, all this stuff that comes out hurts the case in the long term, because things are going to be said that there's no information on. And that's, when you go into court, they always say, hey, have you read the newspapers last couple of days? What TV stations do you watch? And you tell them, and they're like, oh, no, you don't qualify to be on this case because you know too much, and that your opinion has been already created by a YouTuber. So I would say
definitely,
you're
definitely going to want a jury.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you want a clear jury with a clear mind there. Then say, what are Legos?
But they're also gonna hate on corporations. There's a lot of hate for corporations. So if you do win, it's a possibility you won't win. But if you do win, you'll probably get a very good settlement.
Yeah. Well,
which then the corporation will
appeal, and it just
keep you in court
motion forever. Right, notice to motion, right? So hey, I lost. Oh, notice to motion, please. Then it gets extended again, so I think at the end of the day, I'm always very careful when I don't have information to actually talk about a specific subject. Now, talking about it as a whole is a little bit different, but we'll see how this happens. Traditionally, when corporate says, well, we don't allow consignment, and the store says, well, it does say that you're consignment, that has nothing to do with the court case. That's immaterial. You still have the product, right? So whether it's allowed or not is immaterial.
Right.
So anyways, regardless.
So they're probably saying that he must have been paid out because they don't allow consignment.
This is a great comment from Dave. No, he says, Bricks and Minifigs, the corporation has probably lost more than $200K in sales already because of the story. Wow. That's crazy.
Well, what did you get this number from? I'm confused.
Yeah, I don't know where he got that number from, but that would be interesting if that's the case.
He's guessing, but I would probably, I don't know the number, but I would guess that they have lost sales.
Oh, his father is in the hospital. Oh, that's a bummer. He hasn't passed away yet. Okay, all right.
I think that if you have a minifig franchise, I'd be getting my lawyer involved to say, hey, corporate is fucking my money. And there would be a lawsuit right behind this lawsuit.
Yeah.
Yeah, just a reread of the contract. So that's, I think, most franchises allow you to do a lot of stuff. It's not like McDonald's, who says, hey, other than the one turquoise sign, all your signs have to be red.
Yeah. Yeah. Hey, man, I started this channel because I got out of corporate America. I don't have any plans of going back anytime soon, man.
Corporate will drive. I just said, hey, I just literally work 30 hours straight If I was in corporate, they'd say, well, why didn't you work 35?
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's just the way
They
the
don't care.
corporate
Or couldn't you get
mindset. Yeah.
you're so inefficient you couldn't get it done in 8?
Yeah. You couldn't get an 8 or what, you expecting a pat on the back,
Yeah.
type deal.
Or
And
hey,
so
we
I
need
think
you to work
corporate,
12 more on the
yeah,
weekend.
exactly. That's why it's always tough with the David Gabriel thing. When we talk about corporate is making decisions not on David Gabriel. They're making decisions on, can we make decisions with David or whoever the name is, or without? And if it's easier to make these decisions to make them work without, then that's the decision to make. And you just take out that one person, and then everything starts to either fall into place or go the opposite direction. Everything falls apart, right?
Yeah.
What they benefit from with David retiring, David didn't go to DC. If David went to DC, then they would say, oh my gosh, we're going to lose XYZ because he's going to take a group of people with him. In this case, they don't have to worry about it. So I think that was a very interesting decision there. So
yeah. All right. I want to give a big shout out to all the supporters of this channel. It feels like just yesterday we were asking you guys to subscribe to get us to 5,000, and we have hit 7,020 subs as of right now. So thank you for that last sub to hit us to 7,020. This community, this channel, everything about this brand is built on community and friendship and brotherhood, and it's such a big part of who I am these days. And I can't thank everybody enough who's in that community. I just went and hung out with Lord Zero. We had lunch the other day, and he was talking about how important that is to him, as being in this community is that type of friendship and brotherhood and fellowship, and being able to be part of the community is such a big deal. And that made me really proud of what we've built over here. So again, I just want to thank you guys that are watching right now and that have supported this channel in major ways. I wouldn't, it can be tough to be consistent and to put out a show every Tuesday for 5 years, every Wednesday for 5 years, every Saturday for 5 years. It's tough, but it's not as tough as you would think when you have a community that is going to come and hang out during the live shows, that's going to come and watch or listen to your shows while they're working during the day, and reach out and give their comments and give their thoughts on things. So again, I just want to say thank you to everybody watching this right now, and how much I appreciate you guys.
Very cool.
Yeah.
I don't know if you saw the notes, Brian, on this, but great reach out there. But I don't know if you saw the notes on eBay. So starting on the 15th, you can now no longer sell repacked items.
Good.
So that starts on the 15th. You might want to look that up, get some information on that. But starting on June 15th, you can no longer repack and sell. So I'm guessing they're talking about.
Did they send that out as an eBay Live update, a policy update?
I don't think that was in the policy update a couple months ago, that they were going to think about doing it. But I believe the 15th, if you look up eBay pre-packs June 15th, the article should come up. If not, you can talk about it on Wednesday or Saturday, and I can get the info to you. I was going to send you the link to it, and I completely forgot.
Pre-packs, is that what they're calling it?
Yeah, pre-pack. So that's some news there. So we'll maybe get the info and get it to you on Wednesday.
Yeah.
Let me see. You know what? I might have it still on my thing here.
Seller conduct. Maybe this is all eBay Live stuff right here. eBay Live policies. So let me look here. eBay pre-pack sales. Here we go.
Policy trend.
This is shout out to Northeast Ohio Sports Cards, who this is him
eBay
talking
news.
about specifically for pre-packs on sports cards. So let's see what he talks about.
You two people. We have a little bit of eBay news this week. And no. It's not Ryan Cohen and GameStop involved this time. At least, let me preface this. At least not time of recording on Tuesday evening right before the Cavs game starts. This time, it's that dirty word, repack related. This via DC Sports 87, and I've seen this floating around other places on social. eBay sent out some communication to its sellers, and they are, if you want to use the term, cracking down. New policy, new rules, new regulation around repacks. And while the individual things, it's pretty standard stuff, I think there's a little bit of a larger macro take. I'll run through this really quickly, and then we'll circle back to that larger macro take. Once again, DC Sports 87 sharing this one. This impacts, I believe, just eBay live sellers. So here is the general structure of the email. Essentially, they are launching a repack program, and by mid-June, if you are not in it, you are not selling, or you will get in big, bad trouble. And some of the things that they are looking for, once again, fairly standard practice here. I didn't see anything that was like, oh my God, I can't believe they want this. Standardized checklist, pretty obvious. Standardized pricing or structure fee.
Is this what you're talking about, Jesse?
Yes. Yep.
So this was 3 weeks
So
ago.
you have to be approved by eBay now to do repacks. If you're not approved, they will ban you immediately.
So this was 3 weeks ago. Did this happen? Did they add recently to it?
Well, they're just saying June 15th is the deadline.
Okay.
So
sell it all the way up till June 14th.
Yep, exactly.
Blow out your repacks.
Here we go.
Yeah.
This makes me wonder if they don't want you bidding on the repack price, like almost like, and maybe I'm reading this wrong because I don't sell these things. I read that as they want you to charge $1,000 a repack. They don't want you to openly have folks bid on them, maybe, or like a PYT style thing. That's where my mind went to. Maybe I'm reading into that a little too deeply. Let me know in the comments down below. And once again, that'll get back to the more macro take on this.
Pick your teams.
Here's another one, which, and this is more of a question. What format do you use? What's your typical price point? Do you currently disclose pack odds and contents of the repack buyers? If so, how? Once again, that's a positive. And I do not recommend buying in the repacks at all, full stop. Digital, physical, live, doesn't make a difference. But if you are going to, make sure you are buying in the ones that provide some of this base level stuff. Do you do sports? Do you do TCG? Do you sell repacks sourced from a third-party manufacturer?
Are they saying repacks across the board or just in the card world?
I think it's across the board because I got the email in the and I'm only set for comics, so I got a email based on comics, and I'll get that to you. So I'm thinking it's across the board. I think they're trying to beef up on, the funny thing is whether what's his name, Cohen or not, achieves anything at eBay, he has made them rethink a lot of things as far as customer service goes. They have really done a lot of good things over the last 3 weeks to make the platform better. And I think sometimes when stuff like this happens and you have a quote unquote takeover that does not work, you change a lot of stuff to make it better.
To list repacks on eBay, you must be pre-approved eBay live seller. eBay's vetting process requires applicants to provide details on previous repack experience and sales volume, sourcing and odds transparency, and readiness to follow standardized checklists and rules. If you're purchasing mystery or repacked lots, such as trading cards or toys, you can browse available assortment on the eBay Pokemon Repack and eBay Repack box hubs. So it doesn't say, that's interesting. I don't, if they're doing it across the board or just in the card thing, that's weird.
Yeah. So I think what happens is they eliminate 75% of the repackers who have no idea how to do that. That's all they're doing.
Yeah. So I don't know how you could ever figure out if the odds were correct. It's not like you're busting an entire box that has odds for the whole box and you bought all of it.
So it says here,
you can see.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead. Emmett, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No, that's fine. I was just going to say that if it says
how many boxes did you go through, right?
Yeah. So it says here, I asked if comics are included, and it said no. Standardized comic book mystery boxes or mystery packs are strictly prohibited on eBay.
Right.
While eBay's explicit June 15th, 2026 policy update specifically singles out trading card repacks for its new eBay Live approved seller restriction, general comic books fall entirely under the broader eBay chance listings policy. The general rule for comics is blind boxes are prohibited. You cannot sell mystery comic box where a buyer pays a flat rate for a random chance at high value key issues. And complete disclosure required. eBay mandates that specific contents of any listing must be fully identified. You must name the titles, issue numbers, or exact variants included in the sale. There are sellers that get around this legally, and they do themed lots like 25 random Marvel, DC, Copper Age comics, and they avoid using the word mystery or repack to explain the product type. Sellers will also do grab bags where they'll list a set number of books and photograph the exact stack of comics the buyers will receive, preserving a bulk lot feel without the element of chance. So if you're looking to list a bulk lot of comics or want to know how to properly format your title to avoid auto flag eBay system, there's ways to do it, to get around it. That's interesting.
Yeah, exactly. So you know what? We just have to be smarter sellers. That's all we have to do on eBay, especially eBay Live. There's not a lot of us when you look at Whatnot and how many sellers they have. There's not a lot of us on there. And so, you know, we have the ability just to sell stuff, and you really don't have to make up other stuff to sell more stuff, I guess is my point. But if you do, those are the guidelines you want to kind of follow. And it's good for them to kind of, you know, we were talking about this last thing, that 1% of the 100%, or the 99%, and this is the same thing. You kind of probably have 1 to 2% that just continue to do it wrong. We know Brian always pulls up one person that sells on another platform that he always did mystery bags wrong. You know, pulling them off the screen and saying, "Oh, well, let me show you what you won," you know, type deal. So you have to have some guidelines and format. What Emmett said is true, but I think they're just trying to have a basic guideline. Here's your basic guideline. Follow these rules, get approved, and then it's all good to go.
Interesting.
Yep.
There you go. All right. Let's see here. There was a couple other things I wanted to talk about. Well, there is the big news. Did you hear about Tag, Emmett, where they've stopped taking
Same as PSA, they can't take any more.
Yep. So, well, PSA shut down value and bulk grading. I don't think they've shut down everything else, but has Tag shut down all grading?
$400 walkthrough you can do, sure.
Yeah.
But who would shut that down when you're going to make $400 a card?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I think Tag has shut down everything. I think it's a good sign. It means that they've grown huge and they can't manage it. So they're going to have to hire people.
Yeah.
And we'll see where it gets to.
PSA has a 10 million plus backlog for card grading, which is crazy. And then Tag temporarily suspending Express tier and announces core tiers are full. So following PSA's announcement, Tag Grading has announced that they are temporarily closing their Express tier for grading. Earlier this month, they announced that they would be temporarily closing their basic and standard tiers, and they added today that all of their core tiers are full and limited priority and walkthrough tiers remain as well. So same with Tag, they're doing the same thing with the walkthrough and stuff.
I think the problem with these companies, they underestimate how fast they'll grow.
Yeah.
Right? They weren't ready for expansion.
Yeah, I think that, and they sometimes read into the tea leaves every once in a while. Was what, you know, Heidi was talking about. People would say, "Oh, comic books are dead." You know, no one of them wanted great cards, not realizing, no, a lot of people wanted great cards. And I think it's a growing business. Sometimes you hurt yourself by saying we're temporarily closed, because now you make it even more wanted.
You know who this is good for? CGC.
Oh, yeah, sure.
Because they are not closed.
Well, they don't
will
take
your
sports
cards
cards.
in a heartbeat. They don't take sports cards, but
Yeah.
Tag is predominantly TCG. They only take sports cards back to 1989.
Right.
And the new AGS, this might bring business to AGS. Is that the only other AI one? AGS, I think, is the other one. That'll help them. People want to get these cards graded because they want to flip them. And they need them fucking graded.
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
Yeah,
listen,
and it's an addiction.
Yeah.
there is a very interesting thing that's happening, with AI in the collecting world, and there are ways to utilize the AI train, or to, as I like to say, reroute it. And then there's ways to just jump on and not care. And there was a very interesting thing from, Tag. We talked about the Tag thing, doing the AI grading on the cards, how great that is. We don't think it's going to come at any point in the comic, anytime soon in the comic grading world. But it would be great if they could figure out some type of way to do that. I don't, it's going to be tough. But then I saw this very interesting, back to the GOAT, Mr. Rob Liefeld. This was a very interesting post on his social medias. I love that he does these reacts. They're some of my favorite things that he does. But basically, they did the Invincible animation before and after AI. And check this out.
Why did you make me do this? I'll kill you for what you did to these people.
There's no way. Because it wasn't like you. Well, maybe. So here's the reason I love talking about this. We showed a clip like this in one of our earlier clips, and then you all came. You're showing them AI. Liefeld, that was done with AI. Well, I wouldn't know. How do I know? I just know that this is a different style applied on an existing style. Right. People are just having fun. You guys are just having fun. You think my 12-year-old gives a crap? You know what I did to my 12-year-old the other day? I said, "What did you do?" And he said, "With AI today, I made the whole family monkeys. We were all gorillas eating bananas." My 12-year-old doesn't care whether AI was applied. He just, and he's not going to source it. He's just going to see it like old man Liefeld did and go, "That looks cool." And you know what I don't get? I don't get angry letters from Robert Kirkman saying, "Hey, why'd you comment on it?" But you guys, you like to pile on. So here again, we just did it. We showed you an AI enhanced clip. Here we go.
And Jesse, that's something that you say a lot. I got to give you credit for, is like you've always said that people come into the shop, they don't care about if something is AI or not. They just want to buy it. They don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. We just had a guy come in and he's doing a comic book in AI. And so we talked a little bit and I said, "Well, how do you think that affects the comic book industry?" And he goes, "You know what affects my business?" He goes, "This. That's the only thing that affects my business. My generation doesn't care." And so once you hear that from that generation, you have to pivot in some case and say, "Listen, maybe I don't agree with it, but I'm not going to argue with this guy either, because I'm just here to sell books." And I think if you get into this just selling books thing, it's very important. We don't, the funny thing is if he would have done a clip of Avatar or a clip of anything non-superhero related, no one would even care. But because it's superhero related in the comic book world, all of a sudden we care. But we don't care about the other things, which is hilarious.
I had a really great conversation with a new startup IP that it sounded very interesting, called Nephi Wars. And as a matter of fact, I'm going to go ahead and just let this play in the background. You guys can go check out their website. We're going to actually try and have them on next Tuesday. And they basically brought up something that was very interesting to me. And I think that there's ways to utilize the AI train for better and like, okay, this is an innovation rather than taking a, like, the job away from somebody. And one of the things that they said is that they utilize AI like Claude or Chat GPT, and they build their Bible, right? They've been building this IP now and this storyline for 4.5, 5 years. And they kind of utilize the AI as their editor. Like, hey, if we want to do this in the next issue, can we do this? Or what do we have to, like asking questions that might be, an editor's job or an editor thing, that they can't pay. Now they can utilize AI for their editor role to not make a mistake or to, as their Bible, which, I get it. We're always going to have people that are going to say, fuck AI over everything. But again, this train is here. It's not leaving. Right. You have to be able to reroute it and utilize it in smart ways. And personally, I feel like that is a very smart way to utilize it in the comic book industry or the collectible industry.
Yeah. It's a tedious task. And that's what AIs should be used for.
Yeah, exactly. We can go back to real fast, Emmett here. We could go back and we could have a person, I don't know, whatever, 25 walk into the store and them say, hey, do you know where Culver's is? Yes, let me grab a map for you. And you hand them a map and you go, well, here's a map. Go ahead and look at this. Oh, no, just give me the address. I'll go on Google. Because they can't even comprehend what the hell is a map? How did you guys use this map? So you drove while you were trying to read the map, or did you pull over? So this is a generational thing. And we just have to understand that there's a certain age bracket. I don't know what that cutoff is to where they don't know the difference. And we got to figure out what that is. And even young artists, the same thing.
But
They don't know.
10 years down the road, if AI fucks this world up, all those kids are going to go, we were too young to know. It was your job. It was your job to stop this.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what they're going to say.
Damn those
So
guys.
They're going to blame it on us.
Yeah.
They're going to blame it on everybody who didn't stand up and try to stop it.
Yeah.
So,
Well, in 1955, the first chess game was played with AI. So we've had 45, 70 years, and we haven't done enough. So it is what it is.
Yeah. Yeah. This was an interesting take from James Tynan that I thought was very cool to bring up on the show. I don't know if you guys saw this.
You for years as a writer, but with Tiny like Onion, you really get into it as a business person.
Yeah.
It seems like a big thing to, like, you were writing full time to decide to be like, to be where I want to be as a creative person, I need to write less and become a business person more.
Yeah.
Now that you've been doing it for 2 years, how do you feel about that? Like, is it like for me, it's like a war between two sides. Like, I like the writer and the person that gets stuff done. Like, how is it for you 2 years in?
Honestly, I found it really encouraging that I actually enjoy it. I enjoy doing the business side of my work, and it started like a few years before Tiny Onion started, because basically anytime you do like an image comic, you essentially have to start operating like a small business. Like I was handling the payout to all of my collaborators, and making sure that the books were coming out on time and figuring out how I wanted to like push the marketing of all of that. And that's part of why I had I started a newsletter and all of these things that I was doing, really to sort of build this entire ecosystem around me as a creator. And it was realizing that it's just like, okay, if I had more resources, where would I put all of those resources?
I thought that was very interesting because, it kind of harkens back to who we had on earlier tonight in our first segment with Brian Pulido and, his whole thing in this thing. I feel like, that's been a lot of creators. There's a lot of creators out there that have told that road before. And you have people that are, seeing it. We're seeing it happen again with a lot of these new younger creators. And James Tynan is a perfect example of that, where you're creating a business around the creator and rather than the IP itself, if that makes sense.
Right. Well, yeah, I don't think artists were ever, I don't think creators ever had an ideology of their business. They just created. Now you have to have an ideology of, okay, I have to look at my base and where's the best way for me to get that base? Oh, it's on Facebook, it's on Twitter. Okay, well, what do they want to talk about? And that's how you create your ideology of how you want to grow your business. So I think that's very, very important for you to understand. I had A+ artist in the store today, and he kept on saying, no matter what the conversation was, well, why can't I do that? Why can only a retailer do that? Why can only an online person do that? Why can't I do that? Why can't I reach out to my customer base directly? And I think that's where a lot of people are right now. They want to control their destiny. They want to control their business beyond the comic book itself. And I think that's good. I think that's very good for the business.
Yeah. So, all right. You guys got any pickups?
I do. Emmett, you have any pickups?
I do, but I didn't take any pictures. It was just so busy. I didn't. I bought a ton of stuff last week, but mostly Pokemon. I bought 2 big Pokemon collections and an insane video game collection, but I don't have any pictures. So
What was
one
the
of the
video
Pokemon
game
collections.
What was the video game
Oh,
collection?
So the video game was the Pokemon 3DS XL in box, that has the Pokemon lasered on the top.
Mm-hmm.
It is the red one. It was like a special. It's like $600 in box, and then they have the original DS Lite, original DS with the same lasering on it with the Pokemon on it, and then every one of the games, not the original 4, but all the Pokemon games, which they add up into the thousands. So that was a sweet get. And then one of the Pokemon collections was base set, no Charizard, but pretty much everything else. And then several sets into the later with some first edition stuff. We're holding to get, tag, but so those won't be for sale for quite some time.
Yeah, that sucks. That's a bummer.
Yeah.
That's a bummer. That's a bummer that well, why can't you? What about CGC? What about sending them to CGC?
Yeah, we'll see. I heard eBay Live has a deal with CGC, then we can get a decent price. I don't like the price of all the other ones that have all the extra. Oh, this is $1,000 card. Oh, you got to pay us this much more. Why? You're doing this. Are you not grading it the same?
Yeah.
You're doing a different job. No, you're not. You're doing the same goddamn job. You just, feel that your grade is increasing the value of my card.
So tag doesn't have up charges?
No. One price.
Wow.
That's
can interesting.
The upgrades are walkthrough, that kind of stuff. That's the levels. They don't have any if your card's worth this much amount of money.
That's interesting. Very interesting.
I gotta grab one more thing. I'm sorry.
So if that's the case, man, I would love. Well, they don't do anything pre-89. You said for sports, right?
I'm dying for it, man, because I do only vintage sports cards. I have all this stuff I'm sitting on. I have, the shoe boxes. I have 16 of them filled.
Wow.
So 1,600 cards, 1,600 times.
Wow. 1,600 shoe boxes filled?
No, 16. No, yeah. So not 1,600. 16 shoe boxes filled with 1,600 cards.
Okay, there we go.
So,
yeah, man. I have so many cards that I have to get graded. I've got 3 Jordan rookies I got to get graded. And those are going to cost me $600 a piece to get graded,
Yeah.
or not 600,
And
whatever, 300 a piece.
Right. And what is the lowest grade you can survive with out of that?
Yeah. Yeah. which is
if you get a 7, are you still doing okay at $600?
yeah. I think a 7 is like a $10,000 card. So
I have the whole set. I'm just sitting on it.
yeah,
I'm waiting for offers. So.
yeah. I've got basically 3 sets of every of it. Not mine, not with the stickers. I have 3 sets, but no Malones. So basically, he traded all the Malones to his cousin because he didn't like Karl Malone. So he traded
I
all
have
the
all
Malones.
I have all the stickers. So I have the
Yeah.
Jordan sticker too. So those are probably the 2 big.
I've got 3 Jordan stickers, 2 Kareem stickers, and one of each except for the Malones. So, but who knows? It's going to cost me so much to get those things graded. It's unreal.
I really just started looking at non-sports cards recently because they come in collections, and I have probably like 6 5,000 count boxes filled, and they're going crazy. Non-sports cards are insane.
Yeah.
Yeah. It
I
depends
must
on
have
what it is,
5,000 Star Wars from '77.
Yeah.
Are they in
What was
decent
that
condition?
one Batman set?
Yeah.
The
got
blue
at the
blue
store?
set, the first series?
The blue set.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's only 2 PSA 10s of the Luke out there, so
Luke,
that's
yeah,
why
I
it
know.
was 600,000.
What was that Batman set? Remember I bought that whole collection, Brian, like 7 years
60
ago?
set?
Yeah, the 60 set, the black
Yeah, I
quartered
think
60 set.
Yeah, what was it? I had like 7 sets or 6
Yeah.
sets of that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like to have them now.
Yeah, I know.
It's not the set with the art though. It's the set
it's the
based on
television show?
The television show, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Still
Yeah.
pretty
I sent you a video in Facebook on unboxing. Oh, you saw that, Emmett?
Yeah.
This one right here.
Yep.
Wait, drum roll.
Yeah.
It's exciting.
A lot of paper in there.
Yeah. Well, wait till you see what I got.
Stickers?
Yep.
Yep.
That whole box.
Dark Horse, 40th anniversary?
Yep.
What a waste.
10 stickers in that box, and it's free shipping.
Yeah.
That
So
is
I ordered books a long time ago from Universal from Zenoscope. They shipped them to me. 2 books. Total cost $6.95 for the 2 books. They charged me $12.95 for shipping.
Wow, holy cow.
If I sell those books for cover price, I still don't make my money back.
You got a happy customer.
Yeah. Universal just keeps getting better and better.
Yeah.
Got any other pickups there, Jesse?
Yeah,
Okay, so I got my pickups. So I picked up this. This is the ESPN Cafe. This was their very first cafe they did. This was the private invite to it. It came with a ESPN hat, and it came in with a VIP badge. So I got that. Yeah, so that's from their first place there. Then I picked up these. I picked up about 100 of these little metal characters.
Yeah, lead soldiers.
Yeah, yeah. So there's about 100 of these. I got
The ones made in England are the ones the
right
best ones.
Yeah, I forgot what they're called. The trucks that I have are all from England. Then I picked up this very cool ticket. This is a FCW ticket, September 10th, 2010, and the headliner was a gentleman called Roman. Not Roman.
Yeah, it was Roman.
Oh my gosh, was it Roman?
Yeah, you said
No,
it
no,
was
no,
Roman.
not
Yeah.
Roman. It's OTC. Yeah, Roman Reigns. I'm sorry,
Yeah.
Roman
Roman
Reigns. Yeah, so Roman Reigns was the headliner, but his last name wasn't Roman. It wasn't Reigns. It was like Lakisi or something like that. So I picked up that. That was pretty cool. And then today I picked up this awesome book. It was 7 short boxes I went through, and I said this was kind of the only book I pulled. I pulled a lot of like minor stuff out of it.
Leaky?
Yeah,
Roman Leaky?
yeah, there you go. Yeah, that was his name. He is the headliner for that FTC.
Is that his
September 10th.
first ever match?
I don't think it's his first ever, but it's pretty close. $25. That's pretty expensive back in 2010.
All right, let's take a look.
Yeah.
Made his televised in-ring debut for WWE Development in August 19th of 2010. So that was just after that. Look at that. Yeah.
Yeah. 1 week later, like 1 or 2 weeks later.
Yeah.
Wow. That is
So it
crazy.
says here he started his wrestling career using the ring name Roman Leaky. The match, this is his first career. August 19th.
Oh, wow.
Wait, hold on. Does that say September? No, it says September 10th.
September 10th.
Yeah. August 19th, 2010, FCW Battle Royale marked his first official televised appearance and match. So I don't know. So right before that.
Yeah, exactly. So I picked up that. And this was the only ticket in the box that I bought. It was pretty cool. Then I picked up. So anyways, I'm going through the box. And at the end, the one thing when you're going through boxes, you kind of only see the top. You're not really pulling everything out. And I'm like, I remember this book, but I never remember seeing it as a preview. And this is a San Diego Comic-Con preview, and it was very limited. So that is Image United preview.
Jeff Larson signed it?
Yep. You got Portascio, Jim Lee, Liefeld, Silvestri, McFarlane, Kirkman, and who are we forgetting?
Valentino.
So all 7 had signed that.
That's a great book.
Yeah. So that was a great find today.
Nice.
Yep.
Very cool.
These 90s Comic-Con books are really starting to surface.
Yes.
I've gotten a lot lately.
Yeah. The Image, what is that one called? It's just called Image Plus, I believe, which is a white cover. And then
they had that 93 road trip where you open it up and all of them were in the book, like everybody that worked for Image.
Yeah.
And they all had like a line underneath where they were supposed to sign, but most people sign the covers. If you get one with a sign, the covers are all signed up.
Yeah, that is just like crazy stuff. 90s is hot, right? I have a whole 90s section, and it is huge, and we sell a ton of 90s stuff to people under 30 years old. They go bonkers on it.
Yeah.
They literally love it. I will tell you, everybody, did you guys talk about, just real fast, did you guys talk about Kirkman's pickups?
No.
Well, we talked about it on Saturday, but we haven't talked about it on here. So,
yeah. So if you can just announce his 3 new IP things he's writing, just so the public knows.
Well, announce it, and then I have a question.
They know. Okay. They know what it is. We've talked about it on here.
All right, but if you can announce it one more time since I'm on the show.
Turok,
you don't have to say anything else. The rest don't matter. So everybody give me a hard time about Turok.
Yeah, but you sold them all. You sold them all a week before the announcement, though.
I know.
So my question is, I originally heard it. What I thought I heard was that he acquired, which usually means ownership. Has he licensed them or acquired them? That's the part I didn't think was made clear. And maybe they said acquired, but meant licensed.
Right.
He got the license. So Robert Kirkman,
Okay, got the
Skybound, and
license.
Image
Okay.
Comics are set to revive Gold Key Comics. Gold Key heroes Magnus, Turok, and Solar. The reported comics deal could bring a new series, creative teams, and first artwork in time for San Diego. Gold Key Comics built a legacy on licensed hits and cult originals with Magnus, Solar, and Turok, later revived by Valiant. So looks like, yeah, there you go.
But so Valiant owns those characters that they made.
No, they don't own.
They
don't.
They license all these years. They've been licensing Magnus. And
Yep.
So what did?
I think
then.
there's
Then
two-
what did Dinesh own when he bought Valiant?
He had Bloodshot, Ninjak,
all of the IP that they created.
Archer and Armstrong.
All the IPs that they created. Yes, that's why.
Right.
So Dinesh produced the Bloodshot movie because he owned it, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah. But so they were still producing books, Magnus and Solar through the years.
yes. So
I mean, they dropped Solar.
Right. Well, I
mean, when Acclaim owned it, they also made all those characters.
So it says here, alongside licenses, Gold Key, it says it created several original superheroes and adventure series, often with a distinctive style. Gold Key's original heroes, Magnus, Solar, and Turok, gained a cult following and were later revived, most famously by Valiant in the 90s from Jim Shooter and Barry Windsor Smith as part of the newly created Valiant universe, alongside Harbinger, Bloodshot, Ninjak, and Exo Manowar. So those are your four things that they own.
Their IP.
Later Valiant revivals were unable to use the Gold Key characters. In later years, Dark Horse and Dynamite both had cracks at the license of Gold Key titles. So there you go.
Yep.
Huh. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Very, very cool. Very, very good
So
news.
just the license of the characters,
right.
which he's
Yeah,
killing
this
at with
industry is moving fast,
Transformers,
folks.
Mask,
Yeah.
G.I. Joe. I mean,
I'm not selling a lot of the Universal monsters. It's kind of waned off. Like the beginning ones that first came out did very well for me, but since then I'm just putting them into my back stock. They're not selling off.
I think
stands.
that
Image had Diamond had that great sell on the 1 in 50s, 1 in 100s. So I have tons of those. You're talking about the one by Image, right?
No, when Skybound took over
Skybound.
Universal Monsters.
Skybound. Okay, I'm thinking of the Image version. So
Yeah.
well, that is the Image version. It's Image.
that is the
Skybound.
Image version. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
So, okay. Emmett, you got anything coming up for the store this week?
No, not this week. Yeah, nothing really other than the eBay Live thing is still in. The contract is signed. I have to do my courses, which I wanted to do this week, but due to doctor's appointments and stuff, we can't do. So I won't have them done till the following week. So it looks like the third week in June will be my first eBay Live show. And that'll
Nice.
be on all my socials like crazy.
Nice. Jesse, what about you? You got anything going on in the store this week?
We are going into full remodel. We removed a lot of product this last 30 hours. So we are beat up, but we have remodel. We're very excited to expand our manga section. We have done so much business in the manga world, in the anime world, not just comics, but action figures and statues and all that. So we're very, very excited about that. We're relearning NASCAR, so we're getting ready to expand on that. We might do, again, I probably not, but I should do an eBay Live show when we hang up here or leave here. So I'm probably going to go slam a Diet Pepsi, and then make a decision. If not, we'll be back tomorrow night. There's a lot of money to be. I think what is very important for a retailer to understand is you got to make money everywhere, and you just can't focus. Well, I'm just going to do eBay Live, and that's going to pay all my bills. Well, then why have the store?
Right.
So you got to be able to do both. You know, Emmett's getting into the eBay Live, and then what's going to happen, Emmett? You're then buy a collection. You're then say, "Oh my gosh, I could put this up tonight on my eBay Live show," or do you hold that for a couple of days for your regular customer base?
I have, yeah, this has already been running around in my mind. I have such a great customer base now. People are driving a very long distance to go through my back bins and to go through my basement that it's going to be difficult to curate both.
Right.
I'm going to try to walk that line and try to keep really selling lots of doubles on eBay Live to start.
Well, and don't forget, you can promote to your customer base in your store,
Right.
saying these are the days of the show. Don't forget, you can buy online, pick up at store, and partake in that venture as well. So don't
Yeah.
exclude them just because they're
No. Yeah, I think you're right there. I think that's a good thing. I mean, I just had 2 people contact me on regular eBay that they were local and they wanted to buy something off my eBay store, but local pickup wasn't set up for that item. So we had to redo that. So now we're redoing all of our new eBay items are all going to be capable of being local pickup. And I have to really navigate. I heard eBay Live, once you set up that shipping, that's it. Like that's what you get. So I have to really navigate that well and make sure that all the options are in there for anybody who wants a different type of shipping. Even though they said I've talked to other people who say there's only one shipping that you can have.
Oh no, I have like 30 different models for shipping because you have to have one for when you're doing toys. You have to have one when you're doing cards. I mean, you could have one standard shipping, but you can't have, if you're then put a Power Rangers that is 10 inches tall, 4 inches wide, you can't have a $6 shipping label because it's comics, right? You have to weigh and do all that stuff. So yeah, you can go in there and just ask them, but it's very easy. You create another shipping policy. It's called shipping policies. You
For
go in
each
there,
show.
yeah, and you can have as many as you want.
Okay.
That's awesome.
Yep.
Okay. For before we end, I want to say thank you to everybody that picked up their Sveta books at Monster Palooza this last weekend. And if you were lucky enough to catch the Saturday night show, you hopefully were able to pick one up online. Shout out to Sveta and Adam for letting us hook up our supporters with these variants. Super limited. There was only 300 of these printed, and they're all gone now. They've all been sold. So congratulations to those. It was a beautiful cover. All this embossed, beautiful anything, and also had brass or like gold foil on the eyes and the locks, and anything metal on there had gold foil. And then this was the back. They did a really good job. So shout out to Sveta and Adam for that. They also offered these beautiful Austin Gregory variants, which were limited to 100 to anybody that was watching the show on Saturday. So big shout out to them and congratulations to them for setting out their. They sent out all the Kickstarter orders, and I've been seeing a ton of people post their Kickstarter books that they received from the Halloween or the Halloween trio book, The Dreadful 3, which the first issue, and a lot of people said it was the fastest Kickstarter that they have ever seen be sent out.
Delivered.
Yeah, so that was super cool. So shout out to them. And also the Kickstarter for issue 2 is getting ready to start, and keep your eyes on Beyond Wednesdays for that. Tomorrow night, we will be joined by Will Jack and Davis Ryder, who are going to be kicking off their new comic book called Sweet Death. It is written and created by Davis and Will, and drawn by Ragazzoni, which he's a amazing artist out of Italy. Simone Ragazzoni is his name. Absolutely beautiful stuff. So that'll be tomorrow night right here on Beyond Wednesdays for Wednesday Night Review. Come join us, hang out, say hello to Davis and Will. And then big shout out to all you guys for supporting the channel. We love you guys. We'll see you guys soon. Adios.